Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of Anarchy in Lunaris. Today I am joined by all four players. We all made it and we are ready for another game. So, when last we'd left off, our wounded and weakened resistance members were all holed up inside of an alchemist's lab. An alchemist who is supposedly an ally of the resistance. Now, you are in a very precarious situation. You've just captured an enemy soldier, a vampire, a knight who was tasked with tracking you, and you and he might break free from the mental control that you have on him at any order that you give that goes against his nature. But you can still make it. You can still save the resistance. You can still say Lorena speech, but you have to play your cards right. It's a very tense moment for the resistance because you might be the last embers of it. There's still some people out there who call themselves resistance members, but they might lose hope if tonight's mission doesn't go very well. So, as the sounds of cauldrons and alchemical tools bubble and tinker around you, what do you do?
Well, I'm gonna probe his mind, so I'm gonna remove hide nature.
You're gonna... Okay, so you need to remove... you just want to... Are you going to maintain the power to search his mind, or...
Yes, that's
okay.
why I have to remove hide nature.
Okay, so you're... so somebody might be able to detect your matrices right now if there's a psychic on the prowl who could detect it from a distance. But it's a risk worth taking. Roll for your potential. And Walter, do you accept having your mind probed for information? If not, roll for psychic resistance. If yes, also roll for psychic resistance.
Technically, he would resist so long as he was not told not to, but he still does not resist.
Okay. You don't pat. Okay, so you. The psychic resistance check for a potential of 150 is a difficulty of 140. So your mind is probed. Its mental research allows you to look into his thoughts and memories. So Walter, you're going to be experiencing flashbacks. You're going to be experiencing something probing into your mind, and you're going to know what that thing is looking for. You're going to know which thoughts of yours have been observed, but you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Vand, what are you looking for?
I'm gonna start looking for information on the psychic.
Okay.
First of all, sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead.
First of all, you're probably going to see him standing in the room staring at the. You're going to see him hooked up to his unusual orb floating above his head. But you will also see the moment when he steps into the room and Edric waves his hand and a bunch of traps appear around him in the central meeting room that he met him in the Void Knight in. That's about as much as I know about what you'd see. What else does he get?
Okay, so you are going to spot a couple more things. You know there's that Walter associates this person with sense of importance. It's an older vampire. He's been given the hard task of talking to the masses, getting them under control, making sure they stay peaceful, making sure they do their work, and using the propaganda to say that the Black Elves are much worse than the system we have in Crankfort. So you feel this sense of importance, but there's also something else. When you're probing the memories, you realize that that something's been affecting Walter's mind every time he's interacted with Edric. And when you probe a little bit more, you're able to see that his memories were clouded by an illusion. But his brain still registered what was really happening. And so you, piercing past the illusion, you see that Edric of Vladsburg doesn't look like he's supposed to in the image that I'm showing. He actually looks much older, much more mummified, and he has this like orb thing that's connected to him. Yeah, I described it in the last game. That has, I think, 3 people, and a giant spider hanging limp from the orb, with their heads inside of the metal sphere. And yeah, but and Walter remembers Edric standing in one place of the room, but you realize that that is only ever an illusion, and that Edric of Vlagsburg is actually standing 5 feet away from where he's actually from where he makes everybody thinks that he's standing, and he looks much older and not as pretty as the image that I've been showing you. So that's what you're getting from drawing this. You also get a sense of the security of the place. You know that there are enchanted armors, and that there's a Gwilgi, I think they're called. They're like ghost hounds. That some vampires use as pets, are used as security around the manor. And because he has to use his psychic powers, the manor is not enchanted to block energy, to block immaterial beings, and to block teleportation, meaning that your group could teleport in, which is why you were rescued. And you know that security is lax outside of the security perimeter, outside of the fence. So basically, if you teleport in successfully, all of the group, you should have you should only have to deal with the traps that are hidden by the illusions. So that's what you get.
I relay this to Dagger and make
Do you want to make a memorize check? What do you want to do?
I have to make a memory section.
It's a whole manner to look.
That is true.
Yeah, but I just want you to know, like, if you wanna get like a picture of where the traps are, of things like that, of like the security details that Walters had access to. But
Well,
-9. No, it's really hard for you to like keep in mind all of those memories that you've stolen from somebody else. So
I started questioning if I saw traps or not. I'm like, there might have been traps. I don't remember. It was very.
You know there are traps. You just like you just can't perceive them. You just can't remember where they are at all.
I tell Dagger that there's a bunch of traps, but I can't quite get an exact replica of where they are.
Alright, so there's illusions and there's traps, but we can teleport in.
That is correct, but what do we do with him in the meantime?
I don't know. I guess you can keep probing him, because I'm going to need some time for this this scar on my chest to heal.
Alright. What is Rifle doing? I believe Rifle is still in the hands of Walter, so you might be able to communicate with him while this is happening.
I think he.
Someone picked me up.
I think Dagger has him now.
Yeah, I have him.
That said, we still have communication by essence maintained.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, your mind controls. So.
Technically, he only has to do things that he's been ordered to do so far, and since he hasn't technically been ordered to not communicate with you, he still could. Um, in fact, he hasn't been ordered much.
No.
yeah.
You
I told him
should
to take his armor, stand there.
Yeah. You didn't tell him like not to attack you. You didn't tell him not to call for help, but he's been very cooperative so far.
I was going to say, I was hoping that was true. I needed to ask you about that, because that was the plan.
I'm sorry. I know Vand is experienced enough with her psychic powers to know that she needs to verbalize some things to make sure that they happen.
Yes.
So she would know that she needs to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. I tell him to sit in the corner and look at the wall and don't talk to them.
Okay. All right. So you move to the corner. Okay.
I'll continue probing his mind. If there's any, if he knows anywhere where artifacts are stored in the city, or if he has any back at his home that we can maybe.
All right. What? Okay, so he does know of the different, a little bit of the different mansions that exist, highly protected places, where the vampires keep their artifact storage. He does know of the garrisons that are being fed constant stream of artifacts from the forges of Crankfort. Also, mostly those are weapons, and the people there know how to use them to defend them, but it might still be possible to steal some of them. And your home, you're currently, I think we established living in the slum area, but you have a point in wealth, right, Walter?
I have point in social status.
Okay, so since you don't have wealth, you do not have access to artifacts or relics. Your family is in. So Vand, you catch glimpses of this. You catch glimpses of the slums. You catch glimpses of a great dishonor that happened on Walter's family. Someone, apparently his mother joined the rebellion and tarnished the family name. It's not someone you've met yet, but it's someone you've heard of. It's one of the financial backers of the rebellion. So that's something to take into account. But yeah, he doesn't have access to artifacts.
Well, once I know about or if I glance over his family being part of the rebellion, I kind of look more into what happened around that.
Okay. Details are murky because Walter was at war when this happened, but apparently his mother was dissatisfied with the way things were in the current vampire society and decided to back the resistance. When this was found, and it had been going on for quite some time, but this was found out while Walter was campaigning for the Vitala, and his whole family was banished. Well, not banished, but lost a lot of their status. But they weren't all executed as Walter and other vampires were expecting. You find traces of something. You find this idea that this family is special, that they have a powerful secret, that they know how to summon creatures that shouldn't be summonable, and that the other vampires want this secret. They want to know how to use the summoning techniques on undead and other creatures at the same time, which is something that only the Walters family has ever been able to do. And they think that by keeping Walter alive, they might get to that secret. And that's the only reason he's still alive.
I asked aloud in person. Your mother, she joined the resistance. Why did you stay with the Vampire Society?
Hold up, his mother joined the resistance.
And I ordered him to speak. Tell me.
All right.
Because I didn't know why. She left without speaking to me.
And you didn't try to follow her, see why she.
Of course I did. There were investigations, months to find and put her to the.
And put her to the what?
Put her to the sword, probably. That's what he suspects, anyways. Have you heard of that use of those words?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if I was messing it up and it was put her to something else and I just forgot.
What was her name, by the way?
Did you have one for her?
No, I don't.
Okay. I was lazy and left that up to you.
Okay. Well,
however, I
you
do
can-
now realize that I didn't write down my last name. Hold on, so that you don't just have to say Walter's family anymore.
Yes, I would appreciate that.
There we go. It is in there.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Lady Gallimore.
Yes.
This is Lady Gallimore. And I tell Dagger that.
You can make a history check if you, or an occult check, because she's known in the occult world. If you want to have some information on this character.
I have an all-action penalty to this.
Yes, the pain is distracting you, unfortunately.
I can help with that.
Ooh, that's an open roll.
How did you open roll? Oh, because of pain and a penalty. Oh my gosh.
So you might know things despite your okay. It's not a lot. You've seen this Lady Gallimore. She's a very rich Vitala. Used a lot of her finances to help with the resistance. Her motives are unknown. Her traits haven't been seen by a lot of people. She wore a mask during a lot of her time with the resistance, and her current whereabouts are unknown. She might have been captured. She might still be out there. She might be in Crankfurt or elsewhere. But she is a powerful summoner, and that's all that you know with your roll, Dagger.
Alright, Dagger sits down and just starts laughing. That's quite ironic, isn't it? So, Rifle, what happened?
Vlad starts looking at Dagger and is like, who's Rifle? Starts looking around.
It's the sword. The sword is sentient.
Was it made here in Crankfurt?
I have no idea. But this sword was supposed to protect Lorena.
Didn't do too much of a good job doing that.
Yes. That's why I want to know what's going on.
Rightful.
So, we needed to convert him. This Vetala. We need him. I don't really know why. And I admit my plan weren't the best. Clearly not. But we needed it. And the death of Lorena was somewhat of a misstep. But if I could, I would have saved her. But all I could do was to delay her death.
You're telling me that you let Lorena die because you wanted to change a Vitella.
If you put it like that, yeah, it seems bad, but
Technically, the Vitala defeated your wielder, so with your sense of honor
oh yeah, sure.
and things like
But
this, it
if
plays
I
into it.
tell him that right now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Vitala might be defeated too. It's in that moment that the door opens and that you see a Sylvan, one of the elves. And like, okay, so real quick, time out. Anima does a lot of calling things by different names to sound fancy, like calling elves Sylvan and calling vampires Vitalas. I'm going to because that's a science fiction trope, and I don't think it's that useful. I'm just gonna call Sylvans elves. I'm just gonna call Vitalas vampires. We can call them You can call them Vitalas if you want for lore purposes and stuff like this, but they are vampires, so I'm just gonna go with that. Okay. So you see an elf coming into, just like opening his door, closing it. He's whistling to himself, and then he looks up and he looks terrified. He drops the the like container that he had in his hand. It's a pouch full of herbs that's just scattered on the floor, and you see him reaching for a sort of like a green vial with noxious liquid with a noxious looking green glowing liquid in it, and prepare to throw it. And he says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And he's gonna recognize Dagger. I think Dagger's you're the one who brought everyone here, right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you really clearly.
Oh, you're the one who brought everyone here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he looks at you and he says, "Dagger, well, I'm glad you're alive. I heard your the bank you were at got attacked. Who are all of these people? What are you doing here?"
Well, our other hideout was attacked right after we rescued Vand, and he points to Vand. Unfortunately, Rifle let Lorena get killed trying to save that vampire over there. Or change that vampire into...
You brought you brought a vampire in my house. All right.
He's
And-
my prisoner now.
Okay.
And I say, watch this. Do jumping jack.
Walter, is it against your nature to do jumping jacks? Appleby? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, of course. Yeah, but of course, the first time I try to mute myself that way, it went to bed. Yes, he will get up and do them immediately. He does them every day. How long do you want him to do jumping jacks? He can do them for a long time.
He'll do it for in 5 minutes until she notices that she didn't tell him.
Yeah.
Easy.
So I was gonna ask you to roll for athleticism to represent that, and wow, yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, you're doing you got some strong jumping action going in the background. Jodis says, so it's not a matter of trusting the vampire; it's a matter of trusting the mind controlling human.
Yes.
All right. What can I do for you? What are you doing in my lab that I can assist you with, so that the faster I'll know this, the faster I can help you and show you out on your way, and I can go back to business as normal without any danger that you people tend to bring here.
Well, I need some time to heal up.
Of course. You're being tracked by the pigs all over the place, and you want a place to stay. Well, that's gonna cost you, you know. I can't just buy more food out of nowhere with my small business and expect it to stay afloat. Do any of you have anything alchemical that I could use? Maybe an artifact I could repurpose? I see that sword there is looking a little bit magical. Maybe you have some ingredients, something valuable I could use as payment. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to take the risk of keeping refugees in my lab.
I honestly don't think that we're going to stay here. It will put your shop in too much risk.
Thank you.
I kind of probe Walter's mind to see if he had like a staff or anything at his.
I'm not going to ask a resistance check again, but he still has a container containing the last of Lorena's tears on him.
Now, I actually thought. Now I might be wrong. I thought I said that he submitted those to Edric.
I think I would have. I think you'd have been like rewarded for doing something like this. I think you mentioned it at the end of the last game that you didn't have them anymore, but I didn't remember that happening. I think it'd be best if you still had it.
All right.
Okay, cool. So Vand, you are aware that banshee tears are make a silver substance that is really useful to create artifacts.
Yeah, but I kind of like Lorena, so I don't want to sell her tears if I don't have. I want to check if I can search Walter's mind to see if his place is empty, because we could just hide out there for free.
Yes. His place might not be the most comfortable, but but I don't believe anybody else lives there. Walter, your sister, she lives in another part of town, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, his place is empty.
Well, I tell Dagger we could just hide out at his.
Good.
I wouldn't want to impose too much on this person.
Yes, I'm Jodas Sapio. Nice to meet a fellow member of Resistance, someone who also wants to overthrow those bastards. I must confess, I really hate how the Vitala are making it harder for elves to practice, to do what needs to. I can't. I don't have the same business opportunities as they do, and despite being quite talented, I'm just never gonna have the same opportunities. I'm never gonna be able to work with the materials like Oni horns or mandrake roots that they get to use every day. Well, hopefully your resistance movement works out. If there's ever anything that, if you ever get substances that I can use, for part of them, I can use them to make artifacts for you. I can, that's my contribution. Of course, I'll take just a little bit of it so to keep my business afloat, but it's my way of contributing to what needs to be done. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a concoction I need to get back to.
Okay.
Hmm?
Well, I hope we get to see you soon.
All right. Good,
Okay,
good day, and be careful out there. The streets are swarming with undead on the prowl tonight.
Okay. Van, do you think you can take us to Walter's house?
yes, I just need a little bit of silence while I
Concentrate.
yes. I think a minute 30. I have to double check.
I think no. A minute is plus 40. An hour is plus 50.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna stay a whole hour.
Okay. So you see Jodas. He goes over to his alchemical sets, and you see he looks. He starts to inspect everything, and you get the sense that he's not checking the process that's happening. He's checking if anything was stolen while you were in his lab. And yeah, once he seems somewhat satisfied, he's checked all of the jars that have like some curious things and things that smell foul and chemical. He goes back to his concoctions. He seems to be making potions, the kinds of which warriors take sometime in the Vitala campaigns.
I forget what it's called, but I want one.
You yes, it might be one of the yeah. So yeah, he's getting back to his work. You see every now and then he looks over his shoulder, looking at, he's trying to make sure none of you are stealing any of his precious books in the living room or touching anything too important.
I fumbled my projection roll.
Ooh, so what's going to happen is that okay, I'm gonna give you a choice. You either teleport something you didn't mean to the right location, or you teleport the group to the wrong location.
Teleport the scientist to my house.
Yeah, I'll teleport something extra.
Okay. You are okay. So what I'm seeing right now is this thing. I don't know what it's called. The furnace. You you concentrate, and you have all of those like spatial the spatial awareness. Your mind extends to like open a portal and through space, but because you're like concentrating on where you're going, you lose track of where you are in the area and what is around you, and you're pretty sure you're about to teleport something else, but then you teleport the furnace. The furnace just disappears in a.
I assume that only the furnace goes because I can only take 250 pounds with that
Okay.
roll.
So like yeah, you take part of the furnace. There's a metal screeching sound as the pipes are torn and the furnace dissolves into cubes and then just vanishes. Jodas turns around and he drops what he was carrying. Like there's the glass shatters on the floor and he's what are you doing? What did you do? My furnace! I need that! That's a very important thing for alchemical processes. You're gonna have to pay for that. This is a very expensive one. I just got it. Polished and renewed. It like it was a bit rusty, so you don't know if he's lying to you or not. But yeah.
Well, I'm
he's-
gonna alter his memory, and it was alter his memory, and we did not do.
Okay. He is not a psychic, so he's not able to perceive what you are doing. But yeah, he's really angry right now. His anger is not going to disappear because that's an emotions based power. But you should be able to.
I can alter his memory to make him angry at something else.
Okay. All right. And so it means I'm gonna have to like.
Oh, ooh, yay! Open roll.
Nice. Okay. Willpower is not that important to an alchemist. It's mostly intelligence. So he's not gonna have the best psychic resistance. Ooh. I rolled a natural 100. He resists.
Oh, wow!
And
Yeah.
he feels you probing his mind, and like the look on his face and like shifts, and he's like, "You're a thief! You're trying to steal my precious lab. You think the resistance is doomed, and so you're just turning tail and taking from fellow resistance members. I won't let you do this." And like he grabs the green vial that he had on, or that he was threatening you with earlier, and he's gonna throw it in the middle of the living room. So everyone who can okay, so everyone make a defense check, and it's an area effect. So if you are able to, okay, so you can either try to block it, or you can try to dodge it. But if you dodge it, you have to move out of the area of effect, which is not going to be that large, so you should all be able to actually defend.
Is it under 50 feet?
Yeah,
It's only.
it's under 50 feet, yes. Well,
Does it count as a fired or thrown projectile?
it's a thrown projectile.
Okay.
His attack is not the best, but it is going to fill the entire area with a yeah, but it's gonna fill the entire area. He's had like some moderate amount of training, so we're gonna say he's got 19 attack.
Now,
I'm going to put shield on dagger
Okay, put a shield on dagger.
because he's that is to dodge.
Oh
No.
yeah, because he has a penalty to dodge. All right. You're you're still doing jumping jacks, Walter.
yeah, and I was gonna say at this point, unless he was commanded to run and stop doing jumping jacks, he would probably get, not that it would make a big deal, but he'd get that resistance.
Yes, you make a resistance check to try to break free of the
Stop
mental
jumping
control in order to defend yourself, because defending yourself is part of your nature.
I sadly only get a 15.
Yeah.
I get a plus
Yes.
30, but I think the resistance was 120.
Yes, 120.
Okay, so you are unable to break free of the mental control, and so your defense is gonna have to have the penalties of being partially immobilized. Your movements are restrained by what you have to do. You can do jumping jacks in a certain direction, and you can move your arms to defend yourself. But yeah, also, can you do unarmed defense?
I can, however, it does not block energy.
This is not energy. This is like a splash of acid, and then there's also noxious gas that's going to come out of it. Ooh, I'm spending fatigue to attack this. He's really angry at you.
I should have just gave the Lunaris away. I really just messed up.
All right, so Dagger, you jump out of the way barely. The splash of green liquid just doesn't touch you. It doesn't hit you. Rifle, you added the
The shield, but
the shield. You add okay. And
Oh, I think you get like -20 or 40 for shooting. So
yes, you have a penalty to shield somebody else.
yeah, sure.
Oh.
I didn't noted it, but yeah.
unless you're using the peace shield,
No.
Yeah.
because that one is really good at blocking air.
Yes. Okay, so you have that. Oh, I gotta remember to do that in Applebee's campaign. Fernando.
Yes.
How are you defending from the attack? Do you have a teleport?
Yeah, I had it up.
Defense. Okay, cool.
At
So
150. My base is 140, but I get -20, and then I roll.
yeah, so go ahead and roll your psychic projection to teleport to defend yourself.
Oh, I'll have to roll project.
Yeah, you have to use your psychic projection instead of your defense stats to see how fast you are at teleporting away from.
Oh, I roll potential there.
I didn't see you roll. Oh yeah, you roll potential. Yeah, you need to roll projection. Go ahead.
Wait. Did you roll? Did you give Dagger shield?
No, no. Vand is able to protect herself by using defensive teleportation. Basically, she has a number of every turn she can teleport a certain number of times to dodge attacks using her projection.
I thought she gave Dagger shield this turn.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any shields.
Okay, so the only person who's hit is Walter. Walter, you are going to take 60% of this does 60 damage.
36.
Okay, so you take 36 points of damage as basically like the acid splashes onto your legs and starts to like eat at like your undead, your white flesh, and you can feel like this intense burning sensation, like you're in a fire. But it feels like it's seeping into your blood, and on top of that, it's immediately the substance turns very hot in contact with the air and turns into fumes that start to fill the room. Now Jodas doesn't seem to be affected at all. He is breathing just fine, but all of you catch a whiff of this substance, and you are all gonna have to roll for physical resistance at a difficulty of 100, or take damage equal to your failure, because you're now in you're now inside of a toxic gas, and this affects.
Physical or venom?
Oh yeah, it should be venom. You're right, venom resistance. My bad.
Does it react with my materials or not?
With your
Because
Oh yeah, no. You don't need to resist because you don't have a breathing system, so poison doesn't really affect you. So rifle, you're fine. Okay. Dagger and Dagger and Van are doing really good, and so is wow, all of you are doing really good. Avalby, is your physical resistance the same as your poison resistance?
Yes.
Okay. So all of you are good. The poison you're able to like hold your breath in time so that it doesn't like enter your lungs and starts to dissolve your lungs. But you won't be able to hold your breath for long. And Jodis is screaming, out, thieves, or I shan't have thieves in my home, in my lab. I've worked so hard to make this place work, to have this business, and you will not be my doom. The resistance was supposed to help me.
I tell him that this is not what we were trying to do. This is an accident. You must believe us.
Okay. Roll for persuasion.
I should have intimidated his.
Well, he says, well, how are you gonna pay for the damages?
Well, we plan on stealing some artifacts, and maybe you can come with us and take your pick of some.
No, I want to be repaid right now. Otherwise, I have another one of these, and like he holds up like another bottle, and he says, and this will turn the first gas into a flaming hell. Fortunately, I always smear myself with anti-fire protection before I go out, because I know I might need to use these, but you all won't be so lucky. So
Also, I would have teleported next to him with my defensive teleport.
okay. Yeah, he took a few steps back, and like right now, so you'd be here, and right now he's like with his back to the to the shelf. I should add a. I'm just gonna need 1 second to add a sprite. Just need to find a sprite that looks vaguely. He's wearing green clothes. And he's got pointy ears. Yeah.
I'll tell Walter to give him the bench.
Okay. Walter, does that... I don't think that goes against your nature.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so you take out the banshee tears, and upon seeing the silver substance, Jodis's demeanor changes completely. He says, "Oh, well, I'm sure we can. I'm sure this could compensate for the price of the furnace."
Yeah, and I try to be like, it'll be more than enough. This was a rusty junk. You'll owe us. If I give you this, especially since these were already.
Well, all right, okay. I can throw something else in if you want. And like you can see, he's like unlocking the circle window and opening it, letting some of the gas seep out. And he says,
I want to try and intimidate him and be like, it better be something good, or me and Walter. You don't know what Walter would do.
He says, I can. You could stay here and be protected for a few days. I've got things to make the healing process faster. Or I could use part of those tears to make a little something for you. And like he reaches for the vial that Walter is handing him, and he takes it because his Walter's been ordered to give it. So he and like you see him like eyeing the tears, and you can see like the glinter of the silver reflected back into his greedy eyes.
Does Dagger say anything while this happened?
Yeah, Dagger looks at Van and said, let's just go.
You'll make us.
We can just come back for it. Elves are crazy.
Okay, I order Walter to put on his armor so that it looks less suspicious.
I don't have shoes anymore
Wait, why are your shoes not here?
because the acid seeped into my shoes.
It mostly splashed onto your legs, but yes, your pants and shoes have holes in them, and they're like kind of nasty looking. Yeah. I don't think that the damage was enough to do a critical, right?
No.
Okay. So it's just, yeah. Okay, and I'm just adding the sprite for Jodis in here. This is what he looks like.
Oh, it was very small for a second.
Yeah, that's because I was uploading it. And I'm also going to have him be green.
Oh, that's where do you get the sprite make?
Okay, so a lot of the so I based them on an old role-playing game called Breath of Fire that has a lot of sprites available, and I did me and my assistant did a bunch of photoshopping when I was a professional game master. I was getting paid, and while we were living in Berlin, my assistant, she couldn't legally work, so basically she helped me prepare the games that I played in the evening when I came back from work. And so I have a huge library of sprites available, ready to be used from the different games that I played, and I can just like upload them and use them. That's where all of your sprites come from. They come from like photoshopped versions of sprites from other games.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. Jodis, opens another window, and you see he like opens a valve that starts to release some of the steam from this thing, and it's pushing the gas out. He's totally not bothered by it. You who have been talking to him, though, you did get some into your lungs. You're coughing, and yeah, you can feel it's attacking your throat to stay here. You can feel that, like you can see that you're coughing blood and something greenish. So he doesn't need to do much work to push you to get you to leave this place. But the last thing you see as he slams the door behind you is that he's like observing the quality of the tears and setting off towards his workplace. He's apparently just immediately getting to work, and you're on the streets.
I will, as he pushes us out, cast a psychic illusion, so we're invisible, and we'll have Walter be invisible.
Okay.
Walter only had armor, right? He didn't have anything else.
He had his mace.
Oh,
His third mace of the campaign.
Okay. go ahead and roll both your projection and your potential to hit him, while I roll to protect myself against the illusion. Psychics can do so many interesting things. I got so lucky that I rolled 100 to resist your memory control.
I know. I don't think she would have put him under control because
Yeah.
he's not a vampire. So I was like, she might alter his memory, but I don't think she would have just flat out mind controlled him like she did.
Okay. Oh, so you're just rendering yourselves invisible to everyone, right?
Yeah.
So do you have area activated? Are you maintaining an area? Because if you just maintain the psychic illusion, you're only affecting one person's senses. So
Yeah, let me just take off my psychokinetic armor.
Okay. So you're taking off your armor, and I need you to roll to activate the area. And then it's going to create a bubble where everyone inside of it is affected by your power and has a chance of rolling well enough to see you, but most people don't have a very strong resistance. Okay. You don't
so
need...
it's 140 to start, but once I maintain it, it goes to 300.
It goes to 300?
Yes, because I have the +1 maintain power, amplified power,
So, okay, and what your potential is 140, so it should actually stay at 180, right?
Yeah, that's why I said it should be at 300.
Oh, okay, I thought you said 300 potential. Okay, 300 feet.
No.
That's what, that's like 100 meters? Okay, that's pretty good. So yeah, you, okay. Do you affect the minds of your friends as well? And they can't see their own bodies, or just the minds of the people around you?
Just other people.
Okay. So yeah, you all step out into the foggy, misty, steamy streets of Frankfurt, and in the horizon, you can see the strange hue as the sun is rising, but it's completely hidden by the clouds that are the snow clouds that are always over Frankfurt. So you see this shape that's there, this half forgotten source of light, and once again, Edric's voice sounds in your mind, and he's saying, "It's an end of one shift. Workers who were asleep during the night, rise. Leave your beds for the other workers and get to work. This city cannot stop working. The forges must never grow cold." For we are those who keep the Dark Elves at bay. Our constant efforts are what separate us, are the only things protecting us from the chaos, the invasion of those monsters who will come and destroy our way of life. The only way we can maintain the peace that you're all accustomed to, and the only way we can maintain our way of life, our way of working together, is by working hard. I'm counting on you all today. We have to renew our efforts. A decisive battle is about to be played in the plains of Angola, where where our armies are about to strike at the foe, and many weapons will be broken today. I'm counting on you to make the replacements that our army needs. Workers, rise. As your masters go to sleep, as the Vitalas take the rest that from working tirelessly to protect you, it's your turn to work in order to protect us. And he gives this, like, he keeps going with this speech. He talks of, the horrors that await you if the Dark Elves ever win, if the Resistance is ever able to correct enough minds to stop the war machine of Crankfort. And his voice follows you as you make your way through the different alleys of Crankfort, all the way to the slums. At the edge of the city is basically built on a crack, on a fissure inside of the mountain, and and in a part that is, farther, where the city just hasn't filled the hole, hugging the cliff side are the slums. The makeshift households have been made out of just spare parts from crashed warships, and from pieces of metal and wood that failed to become artifacts in the forges. And it's here that the poorest inhabitants of Crankfort sleep. It's the change of shift. So you see a lot of workers, tired, exhausted workers who are coming back from work. Some of them with new burns, and some of them with new wounds from the fighting pits, and exhausted workers who haven't gotten enough sleep, who are getting up and heading to work. And you realize that all of those, they look like it's so hard to live here. They barely have the energy. You understand why so few people join the Resistance, because there's just no time to do that with their lives and to get enough sleep to do their jobs. You've managed to survive without having jobs this entire time, either because of your magical gifts or because of the rare finances of the Resistance. But those finances are dwindling every day, and now you are in one of the most dire spots you've ever been in. Walter opens the door to his house, and you see that it's a bare bones room, practically no furniture. There's gonna be, I think, some family heirlooms, like the flag of his house and things like this, but mostly it's a very, like, simple place. Outside, you're hearing some people fighting over, there's a couple of housing units that are offered by the city for workers to share, and apparently there's less beds than there are people, and some workers are fighting over that in the background. And farther still, you can hear the crack of part of the slums collapsing from the cliff and into the darkness below. And there's creaking all around your house, and this is where you live. Now, Walter, can you tell us a little bit more about what there is here, please?
Well, this place does have a little bit as far as we're off square foot. There are balconies that sort of lead over that. There are several rooms which seem to be made in a certain design for a specific purpose, but like you said, there's not really much furniture. It's not only the fact that he isn't a very wealthy Vitala, but it is also the fact that he spends very little time here. And it is obvious. He has not hired a cleaner, so there are things that are very dusty. It looks more like the typical horror story vampire's abode, which is just an abandoned house that's been here forever.
Okay.
There are no candles lit. There are only actually like candles in place and like sconces that actually have torches in a very specific line of rooms that lead to where he sleeps.
Okay. What about pests? Do you have bugs? Do you have creatures here? As Vitala, you can communicate with some animals. You might
Oh,
have
yes.
some. You might have something here.
That's great for pest control. I can just tell the bugs to get out.
Yeah. Do you?
He does have, as we walked in, not inside the house, but as we walked in, there is a stable, and there is a very large, sort of, mostly dark brown and like tannish horse outside.
Okay.
As for animals, he does not keep any animals. He doesn't really have time to care for them if they're not working with him. So the horse is his steed, is his companion in actual combat. No dogs, no rats, no mice. That he intends to be here.
Okay. How are you keeping your horse from being stolen in this part of town? Do you have
the fact that there's nothing here to steal, and that if he walks in and somebody's here, he is a rather unsettling person to meet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have the feeling that
You've
most thugs just avoid it because he will clobber them, and
Yeah.
also there's nothing to take.
Okay. You've intimidated the residents around here who know you're a Vitala, and who a lot of people fear the reprisal of the Vitala rule if one of your kind is hurt. So your social status has kept you from being robbed, from your
I will
horse getting
say-
stolen from you.
Yeah, that's true. They try to steal the horse. The horse, I would like to say, is not pretty well tamed by him, though he does have his speaking ability. So hopefully the horse would not be just hugely nice to anyone who came up. But that's true. I didn't think of that. They could probably steal the horse. He does, however, none of the rooms are locked except for the corridor leading to his room and his room, which both have good locks.
Okay. Also, as you enter, there's a couple of green insects that are scuttling around. Some of them much larger than others. There's an infestation of blatodias all over Crankfort. Blatodias are insects that have mutated due to ambient magical energy that feed on mages and artifacts, and they are everywhere in Crankfort because of how much how much magic is concentrated in this place to create these artifacts. Those are just early stage blatodias. They're still animals. You can still control them and make them leave water. You haven't been told not to use your voice, so you can.
He'll as he walks in, hey, you guys can make notice checks if you want to. He will be just lightly mumbling, and they all, if they obey him, they will probably scatter.
Okay. What is there a role for that?
There isn't a rule. It just gives me animal empathy, effectively.
Okay.
And they can generally sort of understand. I can make an intimidate check if you like, but I don't have animals.
Okay. Then in this case, make an animal, make an intimidation check, and I'm just gonna have the difficulty be a little bit higher because you don't know the specific animals, and everybody can make a notice check to try to perceive that this is happening. Okay, that's a good intimidation roll. They are they're scared of you. You can see that some of them seem on their way out linger around under where rifle is being held, but they still leave.
Do they have a lot of mana or not?
They're basically mana eaters. So
Much like me, so
yeah. So you could try to drain those creatures. Okay, so hold on just one second. Vitala, ultrasound. You okay? So when Vitala use this ability, they appear to be muttering something quietly to themselves. Only other Vitala and those with a perception of 11 or higher and those who pass an absurd 180 difficulty notice can detect the ultrasound in use. So no, did anybody roll higher than 180 in notice? No. So you see this mumbling, and you know that Vitalas have this power because they demonstrate it quite often with the animals in Crankfort when they're not using their summoning on those creatures.
I make Walter tell me what he made them.
Leave.
Did you tell them to seek out anyone?
No.
Okay.
I tell him he can stay in. He should, if he has anything to heal his wounds, he will go.
I don't need anything.
Technically, you've just been given permission to drink somebody's blood.
Yes.
Technically, just saying, if you want to take advantage of those kinds of orders, or if you want to be cooperative, but yes.
You might go drink bug blood.
Huh?
You might go drink a bug blood.
Okay.
I don't know if non-sentient blood works.
You could drink from your horse. You could drink from.
No, good horse.
Yeah.
Nobody touches the horse.
Okay, so because the Blatodias have a power of 6, they have 85 points of Xeon. So do they see the supernatural? No. They can still see that. Okay. It's going to be a weaker Blatodia, so it's going to have a bit less. Hold on. I think I actually have. Yes, I have it. This is what the largest Blatodias look like. In the when they're like fully grown and ready to like attack artifacts and mages. So I'm just going to roll to. Defend, and we're going to say that this is a smaller Blatodia, so it's going to have large penalties. Okay, so you hit the largest one of them with your Xeon Draining spell, and magic resistance. They're supposed to have. They're supposed to have 75. This one is weaker, so I'm just gonna have. Okay. What's the difficulty is 140, so I failed by 27 points.
By 27?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
So that means you drain 27 points of Xeon?
Oh, yep.
Okay. So it's not like double or half.
No.
Okay, it's just...
Oh, no, it's double.
It's double? Okay.
Just read it again.
So you did... So that would be 54 points of Xeon that you've drained. It also means that the Blatodia, that basically like you seep enough mana that the creature looks visibly weaker. It has less fatigue points because of its energy being stolen like this, and it's like as it's like making its way to the door, you can see that like some of its legs are a bit slower. It's limping. But yeah, you've drained your magic back from those pests who and like you can see that they don't like you. You can see that like one of them looks at you with its like black eyes, and it looks at you like you could be its next meal if it gets the chance, but it scurries away. All right. Okay. Yeah. So series of rooms. Some of them are locked, but I'm pretty sure that Walter has the key on him. So
Is there like a couch in like the main?
I actually would say that in the entranceway there is like the facade of somebody who lives here. So like yes, you could say there is like a couch. There's like that's one of the rooms that has lighting in it. There are maybe like a number of chairs. This is also the place where the fireplace is, but of course that's completely empty because he hasn't lit a fire in a long time, and nobody has been here for him to light a fire for.
Aren't you too poor to be a Votella?
I just don't use money for this place. It serves no purpose for me.
Well, it helped
Yeah.
out the resistance with your mom.
Your mom.
Excuse me?
Well, your mom, she helped the resistance with money.
Listen, which is probably why we don't have near.
But even when I lived in the pits, my place was better than this.
not by a lot.
Lucky you.
Oh, I've been hit hyperbolic.
Mhm.
So, you have run. What will I be instructed to do here?
Get me some blood.
Well, he's not gonna listen. I didn't tell him to listen to me.
Oh no, I know you. I know you haven't told him, but he asked, and that's just my answer.
It was directed at the monster psychic.
Oh, I'm still gonna answer. Give me some blood.
No, that was him responding to you.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why don't you just take that limping magic bug?
Hmm?
I tell him to eat the limping magic.
He will consume the limping magic bug.
Well, I was talking to Dagger. I was talking to Dagger.
Oh, okay. I thought you were telling me to consume the limping magic bug.
The bug doesn't have blood. That I can drink.
It the bug has yes, it does have something that's close enough to blood that it can fulfill your daily needs. Your
I just
addiction.
don't want to drink. I just don't want to drink from a bug.
Yeah.
So, totally lying.
Well, Dagger, I need of mana, so we could just go out there and eat ourselves. No?
Okay. I think there was a horse outside.
Nah. Yeah, but a horse can be useful. Not compared to.
And when you talk to Riffle, you're not actually talking. You're just mental, right?
Yeah, but yeah, if I could, I would maintain the spell on everybody so that you can all hear me.
Well, he hasn't told me that the sword can talk. He just said it's a magical.
Here's the thing: because you're maintaining the spell as with your innate magic, I think you can only communicate with one person at a time.
Oh yeah. It's one person with my innates, but I maintain it also with other beasts.
Yes.
Mhm.
Walter.
Okay. So So, what is the next step for the resistance? You don't have you don't necessarily have like that much coin for surviving the next few days, but you might be able to get by long enough to heal your wounds and regenerate your magic. The day's rising, so it's less likely you'll encounter Vitala guards in the streets, and the undead are always on the prowl, and never tiring. So you still have to be careful of them. But because you were invisible, you didn't have to worry that much. It's just a matter of deciding what to do next.
I asked Walter if he had any prior engagements he had, or like had any work or anything with the.
I was off to feed your sword, and I ought to be reporting to the barracks within a few hours.
You are currently supposed to be hunting for the resistance. That is your overall assignment. So
In the daylight?
yes.
Oh yeah, right.
But it's faint enough that I'm not even going to ask Walter to make a resistance check. It's going to be rare for actual sunlight to reach Crankfort in this campaign.
Yeah.
I asked him if how many people would be at the barracks at this time.
What would be my estimate? I assume a lot.
Okay, so because the undead don't tire, they're always on shift. So but a lot of them are just like constantly patrolling the streets, or being in reserve for in case there's like problems. So you'd say there's gonna be probably something like 30 undead at the barrack where you need to report to. The Void Knight is probably going to be there because that's where he gives orders from, but he is just as likely to be on the field hunting because he's very driven by his lust to find dagger. And there could be other types of undead there. I'm going to use some of the Black Sun monsters from the book to represent like the monstrosities, the undead that are being used in the war effort. And I'm going to use some other and like the worst thing you can encounter is a Lord of Undeath. I think it's what they're called. They're necromancer monsters that are very powerful, but those are but like there aren't a lot of those inside of Crankfort. They're mostly being used to control vast undead armies in the war.
Right, I tell Dagger that they might come looking for him if I keep control.
Okay.
Someone will. It might not be the guard.
Can you tell him to go about his normal daily routine without letting anyone know about us?
He might try to find him in my order.
I'm sorry, what?
He could try to find a way to tell someone else if I'm not there watching him.
Well, I don't know what to say. I
I could try to wipe his mind and then leave.
I do rarely enter most rooms.
What did
There
you say?
could be people. I was saying I do rarely enter many rooms. There might be others living here that I would never know about.
Okay, we're gonna search your place then. Open up all the lock.
The only two are this way. And he would guide them to the corridor leading to his room. And that's the only place that's locked.
What is inside your room?
Just, it's a bed, and for what it matters, it's actually like a nice 4-poster bed, but it is dilapidated and old. This room is not dusty, though. It has a bunch of... It looks like it was a very nice room, and, it's well cleaned, well tended, except for the fact that everything's very old.
Okay. I assume, like, I like to think that the vampire army gives, like simple metal coffins for the Vitalas to carry around with them, and that there's like more elaborate coffins for nobles. Would you have a really good quality coffin that's now, like got the paint rusted off of it, and somebody tore off part of the silver decorations that were on them?
That might be good. I actually didn't know if they slept in coffins within their own homes. I thought that was primarily if they were in a place where the sun was ever an issue.
Yeah. You with the strict way that the army works, you would probably have been taught to constantly be near enough of a coffin and to carry it around when you're leaving the city and things like this. The really strict making your bed protocols of the army, but applied to something that's vital for your survival, and that you need to maintain even when you're not on the field.
Oh yes, in that case, he will have his bed, but he will also have in the corner just sort of sat there, the cleanest thing in the room, however damaged it is his silver coffin.
Okay.
Silver embellished coffin.
Yeah. For Vand, this is a step up from the cage that you were being held and tested inside of. For Dagger, it's you didn't have any silver when you were in the fighting pits, but you had your family, and now there is only your fellow members of the resistance. The place is quite cold. It's against the cliffside. It's lodged into the ice, and the back wall is just gonna be frozen ice that has metal hooks planted into it to keep the whole structure from falling into the precipice below. I'm gonna ask all of you to make a physical resistance check against the cold, or I'm gonna do just a little bit of cold damage. It's gonna be, I'm gonna say a difficulty 80. Okay, so by the way, rifle. You could be prone to breaking more easily since you're made of steel, since you're made of metal. So I'm also going to ask you to make the same resistance check against the cold. And yeah, so only Fernando, only Dagger, I think, is failing this test by 7 points. So you're just going to take. It's not going to be damage points. It's going to be the cold damage gives you, I believe it's extra penalties to your actions. Cold damage. Physical resistance equal to the cold damage amount. Fails the check. All penalty. Okay, so you have you basically just have a -7 to all of your actions on from the cold on top of the ones you had from your wounds. You're shivering and your breath is forming a cloud in front of you.
Oh, I passed mine. It was.
Who's Fernando?
Vand.
Fernando is Vand. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Vand, you are you're used to the cold. You already, you were held in a cage, and most psychics are are put in like extreme conditions, in the hopes that they will develop a control of fire or with pyrokinesis or cryokinesis. So you were you like this place being this cold reminds you of of the lab. It reminds you of all of those years you've spent waiting to escape, and now that you're free, you're just in another metal box. So you have a -7 penalty to all of your actions until you warm up. So, what do you all do?
Daggers looks around and says, alright, I guess I can stay here for a while. And he, does he have a connection with Rifle right now?
Yep.
Okay. He says, right after I heal up, we're gonna go, help out the resistance. Finish Lorena's task.
Okay. So
I asked, sorry, I asked Walter why he never joined the.
Why would I?
Well, he didn't
You
You
return.
touched your mother?
You didn't want to find out what happened to your mother.
Of course I do. That's what I've been trying to do since she left.
You took a very roundabout way of doing that.
I think hunting her down is as close as I've been. That said, you haven't. There are questions you could have asked that you haven't. Being an interrogator is equally about knowing what you want, but also knowing the right questions to ask. Oh,
I don't even know where to go from here. I was just following.
that has been incredibly obvious since I was taken into your power.
Walter is throwing some shade.
oh, sorry. Yeah. So I'm talking with Dega.
Okay.
Well, now that we're inside, I'm gonna try probing his mind again.
Okay.
Go as long as you'd like. There's 100 of events for you to parse.
Yeah, he seemed Van seems rather good at like honing in on what she's looking for. Despite the fact that your mind is old and tortuous, she has an undeniable gift with her psychic powers. Oh, wow. Open rolling. Nice.
Power. What was that 133 potential? Why do you have plus? Oh, because you have that penalty now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can Walter. You should roll for psychic resistance, even if you aren't resisting, just because your mind reflexively tries to.
I've been rolling really bad for any resistance.
You might roll 100 someday and be able to
Okay.
fake some memories. But okay, Walter, take us through. I think something that could be interesting is for you to describe whatever scene. The scene that Van and you end up in. When she probes your mind, you're both gonna go inside of your memories, and I'm gonna give you control over the narration for a little bit. Van,
Cool.
what are you looking for?
What am I
That's
looking?
the question. That's what he asks her too. He's like, "What are you looking?"
Well, I start looking to how it ended with.
Okay.
How it ended with what?
Lorena, I think.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay, so you're taken back to that to that moment earlier tonight in the fight. Now
Feels like a long time ago.
you've seen you were present as a player for that description of those events, but you notice some things that are different than what Walter would have noticed. You notice how heroic Lorena looked when she was trying to gain you some time. You notice how desperate she looked at in the end, just before her tears and face were crushed by the finishing blow. You notice how the whole place is in complete ruins after the passage of the ghosts, and how they thoughtlessly destroy what was the Resistance's home for a long time. Just left the pieces there. And yes, you also are able to see the discussion with Rifle and things like this. Walter, do your feelings color or influence your memory in a way that shapes it a little bit differently than the way it really happened?
Not. I would. You may make suggestions. I don't think so terribly. He does not necessarily see her as unheroic or undesperate, but he has seen it so many times that he himself does not feel terribly strongly even seeing someone like this, even though she did heavy damage to him.
Okay.
He does, however, say, "I wasn't intending to kill her, but I know that if she had been able to use her voice, I and all of my companions would have possibly died."
You also, as you are relieving this fight, Vand, you are able to see shapes of other fighters dancing around Walter, and just representing his experience as a very old warrior. When he was fighting Lorena, he was also remembering previous fights that he had against magical creatures with similar circumstances, and basically his memories of combat are all intertwined in a way that's you can feel that this is a powerful warrior, just like you're a powerful psychic, and that he has great potential.
You could probably use those shadows to jump in between battle after battle, different places, and he has also traveled reasonably far from Craigford.
Yes.
Or do any of the shadows appear different than any of?
So most of them would be dark elves, I believe.
That is probably true.
So Juxarist, mostly he spent most of his life fighting fire wielders, because they're either pyrokinesists or fire mages. Lots of them dance around with Gestalt wood weapons, and a lot of. But there's also going to be like other types of creatures that he's fought against. Some of the shadows are look more robotic because the Duxarist army they've developed machines to work for them. So like I'm going to use the stats for the Solomon uh, robots for those creatures. And what else would your fight with Lorena have reminded you of? Are there any other creatures or fights that you wouldn't remember specifically? Maybe training with your mother.
That might be true. There's all sorts of fights, though. Generally, every fight with the Resistance will also like give him that nagging memory of the war with the Archer.
Yeah.
So, seeing that one, the fight with the training with his mom would be cool.
Yeah.
I'll go look into that.
Okay. So you find yourself in a training room. Appleby, do you want to take over this description?
Sure. Yes. All right. This is actually in a different manner, one that actually has all of the usual dressing. You can see that surrounding Walter is everything you would have expected from the higher-ups in the Tala Society. Like just embellishment, gilding, the tarps, or not the tarps, but carpeting and rugs on the walls, and tapestries and paintings and fine pottery, things things that have no necessary use, just made to be pretty, everywhere. The wealth of the room alone is something spectacular that Walter right now can barely remember. It's almost hazy. But all of the chairs and things have been cleared away. There, you can see them sort of stacked vaguely against the walls. Walter himself helping move it. This is an impromptu session, it seems. This is not the training room, but it is the room where they have decided to take this training. Now, his mother, if I may make this statement, is not a fighter with swords or maces. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So what she has done, though, is as he has acquired his gear, which at this point is just basic leather armor and a normal mace. While she has acquired that, his mother stands at the opposite end of the room, her arms crossed. She's smiling slightly as he enters, and she nods her head and raises one arm. A circle he didn't notice on the ground begins to sort of shimmer like a swirling violet light, picking up there, disturbing things like light objects across the walls. The candles in the room all sputter, half of them die, but they don't need too much to see. And in the middle of the room arises an undead figure, sort of gaunt. It seems to have physical parts on it. It has long scythe-like arms, but it is floating and it has no legs. And she says to him, "All right, Walter. You know what I've taught you. But not all enemies that come at you with strength are going to be ones that you can perceive with sight alone. In the world of magic, things can come after you at any time, from any place. You have to be ready." And as she says this, she sort of twists her hand, and the specter vanishes. Says, "This is going to be an easy one. Bartholomew has a little problem with his throat. And as you were in Walter's room, or Walter's mind, he lowers his head and listens carefully, and you can actually hear the occasional rasping cough coming from the room, but he can tell that it is moving. This fight does not necessarily go well for Walter, this training session. Of course, the monster is holding back, because his mother tells it to. She does not wish for it to hurt him. However, it will frequently knock him down and his leather armor gives little protection as it sort of digs into the sides of his legs. And she will give him a few moments of reprise every time, but generally this seems to be a pretty harsh lesson. That said, he'll frequently look to her, and you don't remember any anger at all. It seems like this is something sort of old hat. He's done this before, and he knows what she expects from him. And near the very last moment, he hears that hacking cough drifting off to the right, and this has happened numerous times. Every time he hears it moving over to his right, he instinctively moves to defend. But that shadow knows of its disadvantages just as well as he does, and the attack always comes from the left. So this time, even though he hears it off to the right, he knows it's going to swap over and brings his mace over to the left side and deflects it, and actually gains just the amount of leverage he needs to swing up and collide with the base of this thing's skull. And his mother applauds as the thing vanishes in another cloud of purple smoke. She says, see? Information is just as key to strength in any fight. You need to know your opponent. And when it comes to the Dark Elves, they are incredibly strong, but often predictable. Fire is a blunt tool, but darkness is something else. And when they bring that to bear, you need to be ready. Walter sort of takes his mace in his hands and lowers himself to his knees, putting it flat on the ground, and bows his head. He says, I guess I was wrong. But I may need to drink after this. And she will smile, but you can tell that it's vaguely pained, as though she is thinking of something, as though it was a lighthearted joke to him. She thinks it's something else. She says, well, let's hold off until supper. And she will take him by his shoulder, and he will stand, and they will go and continue to speak lightly as they move down the hall, but at this point his memory is sort of fraying, as though he's not terribly interested in going down that road.
Can you repeat that last part, sorry?
That's fine. He essentially, they begin to make light conversation about that. She makes comments about his movements. I assume that is he uniquely tremendous, or is this whole family tall?
I think your family is known to more like summoners. So
yeah.
you would have ended up being the warrior in the family because of your tremendous size, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I...
Well, also, he does not have the smarts or the power to be a summoner.
Yeah, but summoning
yeah.
is something that everyone can learn. So a
sorry.
family of summoners would end up trying to, teach it, even to people who are not naturally gifted in that regard. You must have been quite talented with weapons or something to warrant you going in a different path, or maybe someone was trying to protect you from a path that is harsher too.
It might be so.
I
I was going to say that. Well, never mind. We're not going back to those memories. But yes, that was a brief training session between his mother and him.
The creature you were describing was a spectral observer, right?
I had no intention it was going to be a creature of my own design.
Oh, but with scythe for hands and no legs, it fits pretty perfectly the spectral observer.
Yes, so that would work very well.
All right. Hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna show everyone.
I would like to say that in this case, it has very large eyes.
Yeah. it's an undead, ghost-like creature. That's Okay, so Vand, you pick up this information again that the normally summoners aren't supposed to be able to use their powers on undead, and she and Lady Galmore clearly did. That was very clearly an undead creature, you think. So, there's something weird with this family. Okay. In the meantime, Rifle and Dagger, you're both in. You see your friend Vond just closing her eyes and delving into the mind of your prisoner, and they're both like concentrating, flinching about at the same time when there's like when Walter remembers parts of the fight where he got hurt. And what do? You since you're about to stay in this place for a while, do you set up camp? Do you talk? What do you do?
Well, yeah, we talked a little, and Dagger offered me to give me some sweet mana.
Okay.
So can we use the rule so that he give me mana instead of me taking it?
You wouldn't necessarily have a lot of control over how much you're draining. Because it's based on the person's resistance.
That's why I wanted to use the role where a mage give mana to another person.
Yes, the only problem is Dagger doesn't have the gifts, so Dagger is not able to willingly transmit Xeon the way that a mage could give it to you. So you are gonna have to you're gonna have to cast the spell, and Dagger's gonna have to make a resistance check. But like,
so Dagger, would you still be okay with that?
if you lose too many points, you will end up losing fatigue points. Those are recuperated quickly.
You also get no elective penalty, I think, right?
Yeah.
I need to check those rules. So yeah, there is a penalty to feeding the sword.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Below 51, you lose 2 points of fatigue and minus 10. But if you go to 0,
yeah,
you lose half of your fatigue points, actual fatigue points, and you have a minus 30
to all actions. Okay, so roll magic resistance.
Oh, I still want to use this. Okay.
I think he said it was fine. Okay.
That will be 18 points.
18 points. Remember, it's doubled. 36.
Well, now it's 140, so it will be a march of
16.
Yeah.
16. So that's doubled to 32.
Well, no, the failure is 8, so it's doubled to 16.
Oh, okay, double to 16. Got it. Okay, so you lose 16 points of Xeon. Dagger, do you know how many points of Xeon you have?
I have 80.
80? Okay, cool. So you
85, sorry.
So you still have a little bit. Do you... Okay, how much power do you have? What's your power stat? I just want to know if you have any regeneration at all.
6.
6? Oh, you might have some regeneration. You might be recovering 5 points per day. Yes, from 5 to 7 you regenerate 5 points of mana per day. Okay, so you've been drained of a little bit of your mana. You still, I think you still have enough that you don't take penalties.
Yeah, I'm at uh, uh, 69.
Yeah,
All right.
that's good. That's not enough for me to cast the spell on you. I will need 31 points more.
Okay. If you're gonna be, resting for a few days, you can just drain a little bit every day.
Yeah, but like, there's a lot of people outside, and
There are.
maybe the girl we could, like, you need blood, I need mana.
I'm not attacking random slaves on the street.
You wouldn't be attacking. You just nicely ask.
I'm not walking to random strangers and asking for blood or for you to steal their soul.
uh, okay.
All right.
Uh,
Okay, so you're discussing the ethics of finding the resources you need to lead the resistance. Now, back to the other two with your memories. Where are you going now, Vond?
Maybe more of his childhood with.
Ah, you put me behind Vond. I was poking Vond right in the face.
Yeah, I thought putting your hand on her shoulder would be more fitting to the situation.
That is true.
Okay, so you are, since you're just looking randomly into his childhood, it's probably going to be a memory associated with the room they were in before, but just a different time, a different thing being observed. Are you searching for something specific?
Not right now.
Okay.
Are you so interested in my history? The
So,
scene will sort of settle on a room. On that same room, all the furniture has moved out to the center this time.
I'm trying to find out about your mother.
He himself is. I wouldn't mind some help from you in this one, but he is standing directly behind and to the left of his mother. She is seated comfortably on the couch. And his sister is also in the room, though you will only get like the faintest glimpse of her as he sort of looks over his shoulder, and there's another woman back there who he will instinctively think of as his sister. And there is a Batala seated across from Lady Gallimore. And right at this moment, as a child, Walter doesn't really understand what they're talking about. It's all sort of very intensive summoning mumbo jumbo, and they seem to sort of laugh and talk about it. The other one is obviously another member of the same practice. However, eventually there comes this strange pause, and the companion, who is a pretty nice looking Vitala, he has like long black hair, like shiny red eyes. He's dressed very finely, and he says, "So how do you do it?" And even though his mother hasn't replied that, you can sort of feel this like tension in the back of young Walter's head, and he's like, another person comes forward trying to figure this out. He doesn't know anything about himself, but he still has that like pride of my family does this. But as they begin to talk, Walter in life will begin to say, "Do you have interest in my childhood?"
Mainly your mother. I heard she was part of the resistance. I
Well,
want to see what caused her to switch over and why you did it.
I don't know that. If you want to know more about my mother, maybe I could show you what she can do.
Okay, I follow him in his.
Okay. You'll say 10 years from then.
Also,
Second campaign.
this is what the vampire.
Oh my gosh! Oh no!
I'm only just like recycling things.
Okay. This is the image. It's not actually him.
Yeah, it's not the same character.
Okay.
Just like Lorena was not the same
Yes.
character. I'm just
I was
like,
gonna say-
it's very easy for me to like recycle certain characters.
It's fine. But I immediately thought, he can travel to Lunaris. He's so strong.
But yeah, as you can tell, Avelby and I played a lot of campaigns together. Okay, so you're gonna travel to another memory. This time of a campaign, a war in somewhere.
Yes. It's just a brief one, but a sort of an interesting one. He is on the front lines. He's decked out in full armor. This time you can actually tell that he's like sweating. He's nervous. He's not happy. He repeatedly, like in the back of his head, he's like, I shouldn't have taken this with me. I shouldn't have. And while his company is around him and they are facing the enemy, you can hear the sounds to retreat. But his feet are slowed by the heavy armor he decided to take with him, far like more intensive than even the armor he was wearing today. But he keeps like, as he should never do as a soldier, glancing over his shoulder as he moves back to make sure that everybody's still there with him. And every once in a while he'll glance back and another portion of the line has fallen. And he's moving back. One of the Duke's wrists manages to slide a wooden sword just underneath his armor, digging into his side. And he takes the wound with a grunt and shoves the Duke's wrist off, trying to stab him with his own weapon, or to hit him with his own mace. Made of iron, so very deadly to them. They seem to be wary of it. However, it seems to be a losing battle until that same like unusual purple mist, he didn't even notice it again, and he sort of scolds himself this time. He had been walking over the runes his mother had carved, and as the Duke's wrist looked down, the small group that was attacking them, their eyes sort of widen as this massive sort of twisting limb of something like energy, but also an unusual purplish sinew twists out from the ground and grabs a handful of them in its palm, and it sort of brings them down, crushing them all in one blow as it digs itself out of the ground. This tremendous monster that seems to be like simmering with magical energies, but as it pulls itself from the ground, you see its flesh sort of like immediately decay. Like bits of it falling off, turning pale, as it sprouts tremendous wings out of its back. Sort of a transformation from supernatural to undead, almost in the middle of the fight. Or perhaps it was on the cusp of death in and of itself, before she summoned it. And this thing arises, and immediately the battle is turned. Like, he doesn't even have to pursue. He can't in his heavy armor. The Duke's wrists fall back, and he watches this thing rampage through them. You can also hear him sort of thinking at the time, that group would have been the better to go after. Their members are slowed. They are the weaker. If you go after those who are strong, these ones on this right flank, you won't be able to capture near as many, and their forces will regrow and refurbish. And you can sort of tell him that you can sort of hear him thinking that as he looks back to see his mother standing on top of what looks to be a chariot, driven by undead horses, and she's frowning. Her hands are sort of folded in front of her. There's like faint remnants of purple energy running across her fingers as she massages them together, almost as though she's lost feeling in them. And she looks unsettled, like almost disgusted, but her eyes flicker towards him, and she gives just the faintest nod.
This is all happening inside of a metallic structure full of gears and machinery, much more complex than the one that you usually see in Craigfort. This is the typical, either it's a battleship or it's a fortress. something that the Xarists use all of the time. But all of this, it might look, it's hard as metal, but it's made out of their extremely resistant wood that is used in their culture that doesn't kill them like cold iron does. The whole place is burning hot with the fire powers that are being summoned by the battle as it's raging around them. And there's a lot of smoke, but despite that, and despite the smells that's like that are very strong in his memory, you still feel, you still like see with a lot of clarity the aspects that Walter has been remembering vividly. And yeah, that's that's it. Okay.
He will continue talking to her.
Mhm.
That's all right. He was
Go
going to say,
ahead.
that's all I ever. That's as close as I ever got to understanding what. And
To understanding what?
we were capable of.
Mm.
We, as our family, were capable of.
And you can do this too?
No, I was never taught. I did not have the knack. And it was not long after that, when we returned from that campaign, she decided to remain. You must forgive me, but I believe it was something to do with my sister. She had been either taken ill or had a problem with another family. She decided not to go on the next campaign with me, and thought I'd be left on my own. And when I got back, she was gone.
And your sister, is she still?
She is still in the city. Though if you're looking for empathy from her, you will not find it.
She didn't have your mother empathy for the rest of humanity?
No. If anything, she took it harder than I did.
With your family, I'm surprised your family was killed afterwards, after she defected to the resistance.
I believe the reason is that my sister, she still has that secret within her somewhere, and they couldn't stand the thought of losing that power to treachery. I am only alive because she demanded it, so.
Interesting.
Or at least that is what I'm led to believe. Would you like to see something interesting?
I mean, you haven't let me down so far.
First, I want to ask you a question, and you can go ahead, Kedrick, sorry.
Yeah. Vand, you realize that you've been probing at a lot of different memories, because there is a lot, and it's been a couple of hours, and your stomach is growling back in the physical world, and you feel that the cold of the room you're in is settling in. Sorry. I think he's got a guest or something.
By the way, okay, sorry.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying, you can feel that your body's growing cold from not moving, and the room that you're in hasn't been heated much since you've arrived in it. So you're there is. So yeah, the amount of memories that you can observe before your physical discomfort settles in is not infinite.
Okay.
You're hungry and cold.
I try to persevere and say, okay, just...
But first, I want to ask you a question.
What is?
What drives you as a member of the Resistance?
I wouldn't necessarily call myself a member. I'm looking for revenge. I've been one of their subjects, and I want to make it so they can never do what they did to me to anyone else.
Not as short-sighted or selfish as I had presumed you. Good. Now you say to anyone else, anyone under the sun or under the moon, you would protect them from that.
As much as I can.
Alright.
It's what Lorena did.
I did not know Lorena, so I cannot say. But I will show you. And I want to give you an idea. And he will take her to departure at long last.
It's the Archer is the city that we talked about, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you write it down? And I'm gonna in the chat, and then I'm gonna add it to my plot notes. Thank you.
He will describe, or he will not describe, because you can see the scene of them approaching the city. The city of departure. The first thing you'll notice is the moon, bright and vivid in the sky, so they're obviously traveling at night. However, there are no clouds, so the obscuring mist that most Vitalas have over the settlement is not there. However, at the gates, they are greeted by Vitala guards and their own kind, who scan them thoroughly and seem to be very uncertain of their intent here. But regardless, they have agreed via a preordained, or they have a preordained agreement, rather, and they let them in. The leading party is about 30 strong, not a full army, but still a force to be reckoned with for any small town. And as we walk through the town, Walter is looking to all points, like scanning everything, making sure it's safe, memorizing the city layout. And you can see, this early in the night, there are other beings wandering the streets. Not Vitala. There are elves and Duxarist and Daima. There are still some Duxarist children playing in the street, being rapidly called in by their parents, one of them chasing them around the yard. But even though disobedient, they seem almost vaguely jovial. There's no sense of danger until the people lay eyes upon Walter and his group. He will murder. Fast forward a little bit, and if you will do so.
Van?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
He will tell it.
Go ahead.
He just says, move forward a little bit. Will you do so?
Yeah.
Okay. We zoom just ahead a little bit to the morning. Walter is standing in front of the doorway, staring at the ground, where it is a paved road, but there are still little roots that come through, and there's a lot of dirt everywhere. He is in shadow of the loom of the door. However, just outside is a solid line between black and or dark and light, where the sunlight strikes the floor. He takes a deep breath, and he's already fully armored, and you can tell that he is heavily padded. And as a final piece, he ties a veil around his face, the eye holes in his helmet, just enough to give him a solid shield against the light. And as he steps outside, you can feel him sort of tense. But doesn't immediately begin to burn. He didn't forget any holes. He gives like a slow turn, and he can feel like the sun sort of shifting. Like even though he has the veil, he can sort of feel a tingle across his cheeks. But nothing happens. He does not burn. And as he begins to explore the city, you see more of them out in abundance. He looks up against the walls, and you can see a sort of plethora, a menagerie of different races holding position as guards. There are Sylvains sort of patrolling, and each of them seems to be chanting softly incantations.
And this is like really unheard of for you, because every day you hear the voice of Edric of Ladsburg talking to you about how the other species, the Dark Elves, they want to destroy everybody else's way of life and enslave them. But here you see some Dark Elves just with the rest of the population and with coexisting with a lot of other species in a way that's, well, contradicting everything that the Vitala say all the time.
I would like to. Sorry, is that? May I continue?
I'm good. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
He'll say again into the evening.
Okay.
Into the evening. We catch him sort of patrolling the street. He's almost taken up a position as a guard here, and people are still giving him strange looks, but he actually nods at a few as they pass, and they sort of smile and nod back. There seems to be some vague recognition going on by now. However, he hears a scuffling as the sun sort of dips over the edge. He hears a scuffling, and as he turns the corner, there are a number of shapes, so they are shadowed, and his keen eyes can vaguely pick them up. There are 3 Vitala standing around what seems to be a daima, and there seems to have been a disagreement. The daima is on the floor, though he doesn't seem to be bruised yet. The others, however, are standing there very menacing. However, even before Walter can move forward to intervene, another Vitala comes just around the corner and throws one of them into the side and begins talking very sternly to them in whispered voices. He strains his ears to hear, but the only thing he can really catch is that this is not how we collect debts anymore. And after looking between each other, the 3 Vitala aggressors split up, and the last one remaining helps the daima to his feet. And he said he will start to speak to Van in person now, and he says, I didn't know what to make of the place.
Seems quite peculiar.
It seems too good to be true.
In the background, you see a group of Vitala gathering around as a bell is being rung, and you see a cart like that's made with a lot of, like, you know, tubes and flasks, and it's like steaming a lot, and is being pulled by 2 dark horses with red eyes, and the thing the thing is like producing a lot of steam. It's like it's a machine that's active, and it's producing a lot of noise, and the Vitala are gathering in a line behind this contraption, and the machine produces a cup and fills it with a red liquid, and each Vitala goes in turn to pick up one of the cups and drinks from it, and puts the cup back into the machine. And as soon and when they drink the substance, you can see that their eyes turn red. They are feeding, but there's nothing alive in that machine.
If I may expound upon that very same scene.
Mm-hmm.
Walter stands and watches this for a long time, and you hear him in real life say, "This is the special. This is the spectacular part. And as he's watching, young Vitala has his cup, and he drinks it, and he puts it back. He has to sort of reach to put it all the way up onto the machine. And it sort of like smiles. You see his eyes flare red. He scans the crowd and spies Walter with his insignia, which would display him as from not necessarily Crankford, but from the specific company he keeps in the army. And he gets this like vague, like distant look in his eyes, and turns and raises his hands for another cup. He will like slowly like. Walter is staring directly at him this entire time, but he seems to be like trying to stealthily move closer. Like he'll look away from Walter and back up, and then sort of like look towards him, and just sort of like quietly make his way closer until he's within just 10 feet before he just walks over to the fully armored Vitala and raises the cup to him. And he says, "You're not feeding. You shouldn't go hungry." Walter will very hesitantly take the cup from him, and since it is evening, he can finally remove his veil and draw up the visor on his helmet. And he looks at it very carefully. You can actually tell as he moves his head around, he's scanning for others of his company. But curiosity gets the better of him, and he inevitably drinks. And I'm not sure how you obviously get the sense of vision from him when you are looking through his memories. But if you get any other senses, such as touch or smell, everything immediately becomes just a little bit sharper. It is just a vague touch of that rush that comes directly after feeding. Not enough to make him hurt later, but just enough to like be a refreshment. He feels suddenly emboldened. The fatigue he's gained from marching around in armor all day is gone, and traveling up earlier that night before. And he will, like, without saying anything, return the cup to the child, who actually gives him sort of like a small scowl as he says absolutely nothing, but will return the cup to the cart. By day, they defend us, and by night, we defend them. It sounds very familiar, but done in a very different way.
You have never heard of Vitala Society. You have heard vaguely of Darcher, but you know that. But from what you know that Crankford had to launch a military campaign against this place because it had fallen into utter chaos, and the place needed to be razed to the ground completely because of like the chaos and the murders and the assassinations that were happening there, and the Vitala completely lost control of the place, and the army was sent in to take control again and reinstore the nobles that had been in control before this machine to create blood was invented, and and from what you can pick up of Walter's mind, you see like you sense later this like huge fire at the center of Darcher, where all of those carts are being thrown into the fire, and the alchemical substances inside make them explode one after the other, along with all of the plans, all of the notes and traces of this machine ever existing. Everything was burned.
From Walter's point of view, you can see that he is crouched not too far, just a street away from the fire, with his sword sort of like dug in, with his mace sort of dug into the ground, holding himself up. He is very tired. He sort of casts his eyes just to the side where you see a fallen Sylvain, and then whose sternum has been thoroughly crushed inward. and then to his own grotesque and well-used mace. He stumbles away from the fire and you see the encampment outside, which has grown many times more than the number they had inside of their own armies. And he watches for a while just from that distance. Eventually, they do come out with a line of prisoners, though he knows a significant portion of them will probably not make it back to Grandport. He is constantly scanning the group of prisoners, specifically a line of younger ones for the one he's just you don't know why he is, but he's specifically scanning the line of the youngers who were captured, and just at least the very least we have those morals, I believe. As the fire sort of dies behind him, and he stands there for an unusually long time. Even if you fast forward, you can sort of watch as if in one of those sped up videos of like the campsite being disabled, like brought down. Numerous times undead skeletons or zombies will come forward and give him a brief message, but after standing there for maybe 10 to 20 minutes, they just leave, and he says nothing to them.
I still can't believe you destroyed this.
What?
I can't believe y'all destroyed the society where they live.
Do you have any idea why? That is what I was asking then. Why destroy something that could make our people less dependent on the blood of others? It seems a net loss, doesn't it?
Well, they didn't have full control. They were at the mercy of the daywalkers.
They were not, thanks to this ingredient.
Yes, but in this area, they still had to, like, be asleep during the day, right?
Yes.
They could have still been attacked in their sleep.
So could any daywalking race in the middle of the night. We don't need others to build houses for us or to make coffins for us. We can do that. What the Vitala need is blood, and we had.
Why do you think your people did?
Because the needs of the many do not outweigh the needs of the few. At least that is what those in charge believe. I don't think they destroyed this place because we were vulnerable at night. I believe they destroyed this place because we were no longer the kings of the world. Inevitably, Sylvain and Duxeris, Daima, and even humans on their own have special talents that make them uniquely useful. This town, the Forges, never slept, but not only did they ran impeccably. Because all peoples were permitted to reach their peak and were permitted to use the materials they needed to do their job as well as they could. But we were not in power, and those who were in Crankfort would have been little more than nobles, and all nobles struggle with competition. So, let me ask you a question. Why don't you think... Do you think Vitala are monsters? We are born... From the moment we are born, we desire the blood of other living beings, of your people.
I have known nothing but cruelty from you.
Well, Perhaps you are the wrong person to ask. But I will admit that when we are born, all we seek is to drink the blood of others, and in some cases you may call those people monsters. But when the rational mind develops, it is not as though the Vitala on the street does not understand the pain of those in the cages and in the pit. But there's just a few options they are given. They may continue on knowing that they harm others, and they may decide that that is nature, and they may revel in it. They may decide to fight in a suicidal attempt to give these other sentient beings the right to happiness just as we have, risking their own lives and that of their families. Or they can ignore it, label you beasts. And I believe that we could both agree on what the easiest path is.
That is true.
Listen, I cannot say I understand the pain you went through. I have suffered pain. I have been tortured. But it was not for experiments, nor for science, nor for my race. It was because I was a prisoner of war. But if you go out there and decide that it is the only way to eliminate every Batala who has ever considered cruelty, then you will do two things. You will create another war, a war which will inevitably profit those in power. And even if you win, there will always be Batala stalking in the shadows, just as there are always the resistance today. But if we can convince the people, my people, that there is a better way, that doesn't just benefit those in power, but benefits everyone, we can do something the world has never seen before. We just need to find that ingredient. The Batala will not agree with you if it puts them in a position where they need to be subservient.
Do you think the Latala deserve any? They didn't seem to care about what they did to us.
They can't. If they cared, if they let themselves care, if they let themselves look at you as people, life would be a misery. And a misery I have known, and a misery my mother, I presume, has seen. And many will hide it. But I promise you that there are many more out there who see things that way, who know that you are people and not plainly food. And if we get them on our side, with the resistance, you will find it that much easier.
And while this is happening, while this talk is happening, you realize that it's been a minute since you've almost let go of the mind control, and it's he's talking about our side, talking about the resistance without you doing anything to his mind, without needing any input from you. You can feel he's shifted from being convinced the resistance was wrong to something, to another position. Now that you've shown, now that you've explored memories together that reflect a different worldview, that show other possibilities. Do you keep exploring memories, or do you go back to the physical world?
I go back to the physical world.
Okay. You both open your eyes. You're both cold. All of you are hungry by now. And, yeah. What are you going to do next?
Vampire, do you have any food?
No, I eat only blood. Well, actually, I forgot who you were. No, I would have to go down to the pit.
I still need food.
There's only one person here who has living blood. If you want what's left of someone else, you can take mine.
No, I actually need food.
Oh, I'm sorry. The rumors about your existence, dang it, what's the word?
Suggested?
No, it's like your, hold on a minute. What I essentially want to say is that the rumors about him, like what I know about him, led me to assume that he just needed blood.
Yeah. Not a lot is known about him, and you only know...
Your reputation precedes you, is what I was trying to say.
Oh, but that you only use that when it's true. And it doesn't seem like he can sustain himself on this one.
I want to figure out what precede means. Come before something in time. So yes, your reputation hit me before I knew you. Essentially what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, well, it took me a long time to construct that reputation. But more importantly, I need to eat. I'm guessing, Vand, you need to eat as well.
Yes, we could see if the alchemist has finished up our item and get food from.
You want to go alone, and I'll stay here.
Sure. So wait, is my mind control off of Walter? Or
No.
was like a
You
separate-
you just didn't need to like use any of it to get him to see you on your side. But like it's not off. It's still there.
I want you to discard this place on God, Walter, and make sure no harm comes to you.
Okay, you said guard this place. Make sure no harm comes to
Dagger.
Okay.
And then I will concentrate for a bit and just use teleport.
Okay. Where you're teleporting to the lab?
Yes.
Okay. You where in the lab are you teleporting to?
I would have teleported probably over here near the bed.
Okay.
This is the bed, right?
Yeah.
I would have teleported right on.
On top of the bed?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make your potential. Okay. Your potential means you've 1 mile? Or do you... No, you maintain it at a higher value. So you only teleport 1 mile. In this case, I think your character's gonna need, like, 2 jumps.
Oh, I forgot to add concentration.
Got it.
Oh, well. I'll just do another jump right away then.
Alright. You teleport a second time and arrive on onto the bed, and basically, like are you trying to be stealthy or not?
Nope, I'm not trying to be
Okay.
stealthy. I'm gonna just come in and say,
Ah!
well,
God,
how's it going with the banshees?
I'm working with lots of dangerous and flammable and explosive chemicals, and you just popping in and out of here like he moves to his shelf. He opens up like a jar, and he like gets a handful of like green paste, and he's gonna start smearing it on the walls. He's gonna start just putting it on the ceiling everywhere while he's telling you it's gonna take me a couple of days just to work on it, and you haven't told me what you want. If you want me to do anything out of part of it. Like, do you want a weapon? Do you want armor? Do you want something to make yourself stronger? Remember, it has to have something to do with the with the place it comes from. It comes from spirit of death that announces people's death. It has to do with torment because it's tears and femininity. Banshees are always beautiful women and ghosts. So it has to do something. It has to be a power that is linked to one of those things. That's.
Can it be something that makes a magical for me?
Magical what?
A beautiful disguise for me, so I won't be recognized as like a beautiful Atala. Make me look like a beautiful Atala, so I don't look just like a regular.
No, unfortunately, the source is not anything that has to do with illusions. I could make you look like a banshee, maybe, but it wouldn't be able to provide a disguise.
Maybe some sort of weapon.
All right, I could make a weapon. I've heard of a weapon called Ruin, made from the tears of the Banshee Queen. I think it's very powerful, and it can mimic some of the voice attacks that the Banshees can do. But it can only be wielded by a woman. I'd need to do a little bit of research, but in a couple of days I could get you a weapon. Which type of weapon do you want? Is it for you? Is it for your friend Dagger? Is it for the Vitala?
For Dagger.
All right. So probably you're gonna need to ask him what he wields and what I can make for him.
He wields daggers.
All right. In this case, I'll make a dagger with the Banshee tears.
In the meantime, we'll take some of.
You'll take some of what?
Some food.
All right, fine. I'll give you. I'll buy you some food, and this will be. And that will be it for my debt to you. All right.
That sounds fair. If we do find anything else, we know where to find you.
Yes, you do. But that thing that's smearing on the wall right now, this thing affects energy. So you won't be able to teleport inside. Please, next time, just knock on the door.
Fine, if you say so.
Alright. So, you're gonna get enough food for a couple of days. And is the group gonna lay low for a couple of days?
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't.
Yes.
Well, I just realized probably when they teleported, you could have done whatever, because I'm not nearby. Cause
Well, I have to
Alright.
guard the area.
Yeah. You did
However,
it.
when you pop in, you didn't tell me to prevent any harm to you. No. He does not wait for you to come back with his mace.
Okay. So, are we all okay with skipping a couple of days? We can say that Walter goes back to his work this time, working as a double agent and gathering some, and working from the inside of the police and sabotaging their attempts to find you. And you all just stay at his house until the dagger is finished and you all are healed up a little bit.
Well, if I can go with Walter, I would be quite glad.
Yeah, Walter will take rifle to get some Xeon.
All right.
He will suggest and speak of this openly. If we are careful, we might be able to take Xeon from lower tier patrol guards around Eldrick's place. Not like in the place, but like nearby.
Yeah, maybe like if there is a mage around, he could see it quite easily.
Okay. So you're okay. The guards that keep Eldrick's place, as I've said, most of them are animated armors, which are just basically beings animated by magic, and Gwilgi, which are the undead dogs. I think that's what they're called. But yeah, so which of these do you draw magic from?
I think the armor will be.
I'm worried about the Gwilgis. I don't know what else.
Okay. All right. You start draining magic from the from some of the armors, and basically, like one of the armors has the like that's patrolling on top of the walls at the top of the of Eldrick's mansion. Basically, like is holding a sword in two hands, and it's one of its arms just goes limp as you drain magic from it, and it continues whatever it's doing. It's just not functioning optimally anymore now that you've drained magic from the enchantment that animates it. But you're fully replenished. You finish replenishing your mana by draining from a couple of them. No one seems to notice that much while you're there, but you're pretty sure that it will attract some attention that one of the armors is limping now, and that another one has its arm not working, and that the third one just keeps walking into walls now.
I also like to say he's walking around like he belongs there, because technically he does, but he is going to have he's going to have his cloak on and cloth around Rifle's runes.
Okay.
Just to make sure there's little obvious that he has that old Banshee sword as possible.
Alright. Ooh. This power is nice. Okay. Dagger.
Yes.
Would you be okay having an artifact that just give? Would you prefer having an artifact that boosts its quality so that it's faster, does more damage, and gives you a bonus to your attack and parry if you parry? or would you rather have one that gives you a cool, interesting power?
Honestly, I prefer if you just decide what the alchemist would have made.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So, quick question. Dagger, how many days do you need to recover from the wounds you were inflicted by the Void Knight?
To fully recover, he would need 10.
Okay. So,
But he'd be willing to go out as long as his health is much better.
okay. 10 days is 10 days is a good time to work on to work on an artifact. So,
may I also ask for something else to happen in that 10 days?
yes, go ahead.
Could I spend all that money I need to spend? Technically, I hope this isn't like you knew this and that this wasn't like a surprise. I have a lot of money.
Yeah,
you
you have it from your social status, I'm aware.
Yes. Okay. Can I, during that time, commission my gear that I wanted to have?
Yes, of course.
Okay, cool.
And because of your status, it's put as like a sort of priority. You are a military person after all. Even though you're disgraced, you're still, it goes before armor that would go to undead creatures and things like this.
Well, there is the thing. I don't want them to know that I decided I need this big shield and big armor, because that's going to be one really easy way to track it back to me.
You're using back channels to get it.
Yes, and actually, I was going to ask what that he's going to say to Vand. I'm aware that you're going to pursue this raid. What are your plans for me?
Well, here to be our sword, our shield, and protect us.
That's an interesting idea, but if it's what is going to happen, I think I could be more useful to you. Afterwards, if you even intend for there to be an afterwards, if I am still considered to be in their good graces. Does this sound reasonable?
Well, do you know any way so you want to just hide while we do?
No, I'm not. I don't need to hide. I don't know if... Actually, I've been talking to Rifle. Rifle, can you help me out?
Yep.
You have 10 days. I will take you to a library. But he will say, I don't want to show up. If I'm going to enter combat with you, I don't want to show up in my gear with my mace, my armor, and my face displayed. So, I also don't want to alert any of the smiths that I am in the market for new armor.
Yeah, okay.
So I was hoping if you want me to be a part of this, if you could use your specific talents to convince the artisans that it is another noble, or perhaps just someone else looking for armor. And I have the coin.
Okay. I think I can do that.
I was talking to Van for that part.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I said that after this conversation, we will talk about getting you all your spells.
I thought you were talking about him doing illusion, but I can do an illusion too.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you could just come up with some way to help me convince this person that it needs to be ordered quickly, but I am not Walter Gallimore, that would be great.
And what is Rifle going to be doing?
We just discussed this off screen, so for the purposes of in character and screen, we'll talk about that We could do that now, but I was going to say after we figure out the armor situation.
Okay. All right. By the way, I don't think you have enough money to buy an artifact. Those usually cost
No.
in the hundreds or thousands of gold coins.
No,
So you're just gonna get some regular armor.
I'm going to get some masterwork. No. Yeah, just some regular armor. And I thought I might be able to get a masterwork shield. I might not be able to do that anymore.
I think it's times 10 what you or times 20 the cost to get a higher tier of weapons. So it can be pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's 1,000 gold to get a +5 shield. So okay, but still a good big shield and a good set of big armor.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, I'm not gonna need any dice to be rolled for this, but you go to the Forgers of Crankfort and you use an illusion to pass yourself as another noble. You order this heavy armor and this shield, something that will hide your identity. So you're getting your like origin story superhero armor and mask and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You spend the coin. You realize that now that you have a psychic friend who's able to control minds, it might not be like that. Money is not as useful as like that. There could be other way to procure things, but but the people who are forging are workers.
I was going to say it's useful to the forgers, and he's trying to help the artisan as well as himself.
You do like when you get to the forge, you're gonna understand pretty quickly that the forge master gets most of the coin, and that like most of the people who are working the forges either shoving coal in there, they look tired, emaciated, and it doesn't look like they're getting much in terms of profit from this. But it's still going to help finance their them having a job. You order this, you make this big commission, and in 10 days you're going to receive it in full. Okay, 10 days pass. You I know what we can. Okay, as you are preparing for this assault that you've been anticipating for so long, you are a hold. Can I? Do I have some nice music uplifting? All right.
We do have one more question about preparations.
Yes, go ahead.
Is there a place I can go where I can freely read tomes of like even lower level magical knowledge?
Okay. You might have to pay for the access to either a vampire's library, or a place in the forges where they enchant spells into objects. Those would be the places that spells would be available, but like it's controlled knowledge. It's knowledge that you need the coin to acquire it. But you could, in theory, acquire practically any spell. It's just that like the stronger the spell, the more coin you'll have to spend to obtain it.
So it's per spell.
Yeah. You could also just buy a grimoire that has like a set amount of spells available in it.
All right. That would be up to rifle. I do have a list rifle.
No. Yeah.
Well, I know we had a list, but it was way back in the conversation.
Oh yeah. But like the lists that you have right now is for next level. Right now, if you give me a day, I can give you Sir Humanity
Is that a day with the book or without the book?
with the book.
Okay.
If it's without, it's a week.
Well, we have
Do-
a week. Are there
do-
other spells that you could get?
Well, if I get this one, right now I don't have a lot of magic levels that I can spend. So
Okay. In that case, that's totally fine. Get that. We don't need to go to a library yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I can get that, or I can get an enchantment spell so that I can touch immaterial beings.
And also, so my shield can touch immaterial things, which would be
Yeah.
great. Either one, up to you. Both are stupendous.
Okay. So I go to the ancient one.
Okay.
Uh,
So is there a so you're just gonna get access to one spell, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The enchantment spell, it's gonna be something that's like it's gonna be one of those more useful spells. You are able to get it from a place in the military garrison or from the forge, because a lot of what are they called? A lot of like forgers try to make weapons that can touch energy, so it's a very common thing. It's gonna cost you 10 gold coins to.
Well,
Yeah.
As much as I wouldn't mind doing that, he only needs a week to do that, and afterwards we're not going to get anything else. So I'll hold those coins for when he has more magic levels to spend.
yeah.
Oh, so you don't want to buy him any spells?
No,
Okay.
that's the one spell he'll be able to learn, and he'll be able to learn it in less than 10 days.
Yeah,
If later-
but he needs to have something to read it from, to learn it from. He can't just learn it out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, if we use the magic, I don't know how to say it in English, but the rule from the Arcana sets say that if you do have magical text to learn,
Yeah.
it just reduces the difficulty.
Like he
Uh,
can technically learn it in a day with a book, but in a week
Yeah.
without the book. Unless it's your rule that we can't learn it if we don't have a source, which is fine.
I usually think that there has to be like that the spell has to, the knowledge of the spell has to come from somewhere. Otherwise, you're just using natural magic, or if you have like an innate knowledge of a path. So to me it feels logical that in order to learn new spells, you have to obtain something that can teach it to you. So that's why I was thinking, that you need to like buy the grimoires and things like this to get those new spells. It's part of the campaign's idea of like, you have to manage your resources, and you could spend a lot of money on one character to make to give all of the like artifacts to one character, and get one character to learn all of the spells, and this character would end up being able to carry the group, or you could divide it among yourselves, and this way if one of you dies, it's less loss. Okay,
But that's
so
all right. I spent 10 gold, and you may learn his spell.
all right. Okay, so 10 days have passed. We're getting a sort of like a little bit of montage. So Dagger, you wake up one day and your Dexaris regeneration has finished overcoming your wound. So you're able to you're able to take off your bandages, and you're as ready as and nimble as you were before. Vand, you've been meditating, you've been preparing your mind, you're ready to take on another psychic rifle. You've drained the mana enough creatures, that you're prepared, you're fully charged, you've scouted out the manor, so you're ready. Walter, you have your you go to the forge, and the artisans have worked tirelessly to make this ornate metal armor with this beautiful mask that hides your features, and it's a new style of armor in Crankfort. It uses a lot. It's from like recycled pieces of engines. So you have like lots of bolts and mechanical looking parts. Wheels that are like attached to it. It looks, it has tubes and it's like steampunky. And because it was made for Vitala, it's made specifically to like protect you against sunlight. There's very little in the way of like letting sunlight through. So your identity is like gonna be really hard to. It looks almost like. What's it called? The old diving suits, you know?
Yeah.
All right, but steampunky. Okay, Dagger, you thanks to Van's teleportation or invisibility, you make your way to the alchemicals lab, to the alchemist's lab, and there you find the alchemist has. Forged the tears of Lorena into the shape of a small silver dagger. Now it's only a coating, but the silver reflects really well like a mirror. And when you Jodas presents it to you, and when you pick it up, you try to swing it around in the air, and it feels like it's vibrating weirdly, like it's cut like the way that it cuts through the air does more noise than it's supposed to be, And Jodas tells you this is based on. What I know about the legends of Ruin, the sword of Lysandra, a weapon created from the tears of misery and suffering of the Queen of Banshees. I've tried imitating one of the powers that she had, and I'm glad that I was able to reproduce it, because now I'm gonna be able to make another weapon like this with the rest of the tears and sell it for a good price. By screaming as loudly as possible, the bearer of this dagger can cause solid objects to vibrate until they shatter. This ability must be directed at a given target within 150 feet. The target does not take normal damage, but must instead pass a physical resistance check with a difficulty of 120, or lose life points equal to double the degree of failure. It's a full attack action, so you can't make any other attacks during the same combat turn. And after using Voice of the Banshee, you are unable to speak for 1 day. So you become mute for an entire day.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the power you have that has been placed inside of this dagger. Apart from that, it has all of the qualities of a regular dagger. So it's not like higher quality. And that's all that it does. It basically, vibrates in a way that like strengthens your that connects with your voice. I'm gonna write it in the Discord chat, so that so that you have access to, so that you can just like copy it onto your character sheet or something. Here you go. I put it on in Discord. Okay, now what Jodas says, it's been a pleasure making business with you, and now that you're finally coming in through the door instead of teleporting in, I am glad that I'm hoping that you come back alive from whatever dangerous missions you're on and bring me more things like this. If it ever looks like you're gonna be in a lot of like you're gonna come into possession of an artifact that you can't really use because it's just for because it was made specifically for someone else, or because its powers are unavailable to you, make sure to bring it to me so that I can convert it into weaker artifacts that will serve your purposes better. And like you can see, he has like a brass furnace now that looks much better than the one he had before. And yeah, he says, but don't bring trouble to my shop ever again.
Oh wait, also, so does that mean the brass furnace is at Walter's house? Like half of it? The old
Yeah.
one?
Oh yeah, I have a brass furnace now.
Yeah, it just arrived there and like spilled its like hot coals everywhere. But it arrived in a room that like didn't have any wood in it, so like nothing caught fire. But yeah, you have a furnace there.
That's good. That'll keep the rooms warm where they want to stay.
All right. So yeah, you're all gathered outside of Edric's Banner, and you're ready to teleport in.
So, before we do this, did you want me to go in incognito for... I just tell...
You're cutting off, Avelby.
Oh, sorry. How about...
Hello?
Hello?
Avelby? Ah, he disconnected from Discord.
Alright. Hello.
You're back. Okay.
Okay, am I still cutting off?
No, you're good now.
Okay.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna ask, did you want me to go in there incognito for anything, or am I good to just be teleported in with you?
You can just come up.
Okay. In that case...
Bear in mind that you're limited by the amount of things that you can teleport based on based on weight, right?
Yes.
So the fact that he's in heavy armor means
He's also really heavy.
Yeah, means that like teleporting him is difficult.
Well, I have to teleport myself last. So first, I will teleport. I'll try to teleport everyone, but we'll see how.
We will see how this goes.
I will wait an hour for this to get the full thing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You don't have the -7 anymore, I hope.
Yeah, you can deactivate the -7. It's past now. Okay. That's 1 point away from
that's what I needed. Damn. So it like more than double. It like quadruples at.
Yeah. It goes from 2,000 pounds to 150 pounds to 1,000 pounds. So unfortunately, I think that means you're only going to be able to teleport part of the group.
I will take Walter first.
Okay.
It's basically do I just teleport only Walter?
Wait, Walter's 290 pounds without armor.
Yeah.
So he's not going.
Oh well.
You tried this, just like your power is just like unable to make it to teleport Walter even after concentrating this much time. But you know you're close. You know you're really close. Let's see. You are outside of the manor, so you're basically on one of like those bridges that connect the different towers the different Vitala towers on atop which their residences are, and you don't necessarily attract a lot of attention, but you're also trying to be stealthy, and you're kind of like an odd group with all of those different species. So I'm gonna ask that because you failed after 1 hour, that you roll either stealth or streetwise to not draw too much attention. All of you, except Rifle. You're an artifact. You don't really stand out, and Walter, you don't need to do that either because as a Vitala, you belong basically.
But I am also a big armored Vitala.
Yes, but you still. You belong. Unless, until you put your visor down to go into the mansion, you're not standing out.
Well, in that case, can I say that, like, before we get to this stealthy area, can I have all of my gear in a bag so they don't see, well, there's this guy walking down the street with this crazy nuts and bolts armor,
Yeah.
and then they'll know later that, oh, it's Walter.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay.
You said we could roll streetwise.
Yes, I did say that.
But you also fumbled the streetwise.
Okay, and Dagger, do you wanna also roll streetwise or stealth?
Yeah, Dagger's gonna roll stealth.
Okay, go ahead and roll stealth.
Sorry, I closed out my character sheet by accident.
It happens.
This is why I wanted a disguise to look like a Vitala.
Okay. Let's see. We are outside of a manor, so I'm gonna take. Yeah, I'm gonna take this one. Okay. Okay, so just give me 1 second. I've got to move all of your character. I've got to move y'all to this new map. Okay, so Dagger, you're able to stealth, no problem. You're a shadow in the streets, and nobody's noticing you. You're like always hidden, but you can clearly see that your friend Vand is attracting some attention. I think she might still have like the garbs of a prisoner or something, but at some point you hear Dagger. You see a couple of Vitala ladies who are just walking around on the bridge, and one of them says, "Hey, isn't this the human that escaped the other day? They say she's a member of the resistance. Oh yeah, they were talking about those dangerous psychics, and those ladies quickly, keep walking, and you know that your group has been spotted. You have but minutes till this unwanted attention comes back to get you and to bite you in the ass.
I will try one more time, concentrating for
How long do you concentrate for?
a minute.
All right. By the time this minute has elapsed, you can see that at the other edge of the bridge, there's a couple of zombies that are gathering, and the zombies have been like you can see they're actively looking around, and they're about to spot you. So, still,
that's even worse.
that is insufficient. You can still teleport yourself. You can still teleport Dagger, but you cannot.
Oh wait, you know what I should have done? I still have mind control up in area. I should have used mind control to the tower. Oh well.
The problem is that does not work on the undead guards.
Oh, you're right.
Ooh.
Sure, I will teleport myself. Wait, I can just fly, so I will teleport.
Well, if it's undead, I can paralyze,
Yes, you can.
but I will launch a spell, so it's quite visible.
To anyone who sees magic, it will be quite visible. Okay.
So I can do that. But,
Bad roll, like I get bad rolls on my resistances. You haven't had great potential rolls for the most part.
Yeah. Okay.
The only time was when I fought that fucking Void Knight and showed him.
Yeah. Okay, so you are... Okay, so, Vand, you have this teleportation ability. You know it's ready, you know it can teleport. You, dagger, or rifle, do you teleport yourself? And if so, where do you teleport yourself? Do you teleport yourself inside of the manor, and then you can use your ability to sense minds to teleport your friends to where you are?
Well, I don't know if I have. Let me double check if I have the ability to sense people's minds. Because I don't remember if I. But I'd probably send Dagger because I know he could stealth there, and I can teleport myself.
Okay, so you're sending Dagger inside. The thing is, Dagger's not the one who's attracting attention. Right now, it's your Streetwise that's attracting too much attention. Dagger, you vanish from your vantage point, and you reappear inside of the cold, empty corridors of the mansion. There, everything around you is luxurious, carpeted, like made from materials that are more resistant and more good-looking. There's mirrors everywhere. There's like expensive mirrors and things like this. And like this is the most expansive room you've been in a long time. And none of your friends are with you. What do you do?
First, Dagger's going to look for like good hiding spots.
Okay.
And after he makes sure that he has those available, he's just going to scout out a very small area to make sure that everything is okay in case everyone gets teleported to the same room.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to roll for stealth again, to avoid being spotted inside of the mansion by the very few patrols that. Ooh, yeah.
Oh boy, the fumbles.
Oh, this is good.
Only a very tiny fumble.
Yeah. But I'm gonna treat it like the fumble that it is.
I forgot to roll for my fumble.
Yeah.
You could have gotten so catastrophically bad that you fatigued yourself.
For no, it was a Streetwise that was a 1.
Oh, it was Streetwise. Yeah.
No worries. Okay. Back on. Okay. So Dagger, you are. Let me just check one thing. I have. Okay. Dagger, you're pretty sure that you haven't been spotted, but then you feel this strange sensation as your perceptions start to warp, and the place all around you becomes much darker than it was before, and you hear whispers in the shadows, and you recognize Edric's voice. Edric is whispering to you about the horrible things you've done in your whole life. but I'll get back to that later. Back on the bridge on the outside, one of you was teleported. The other three are still there, and the zombies are coming towards you. Rifle, what do you do?
So we are pretty much. Like, they're coming at us like they are going to kill us?
They're coming towards you, and they look uncertain if they should, talk to the Vitala or something. But they have handcuffs ready, and they are looking at Vand, with and then they're moving towards Vand. There's like intent and purpose in the way that they walk, as much as it is possible for zombies.
There are is there any magic users in their group?
Zombies usually aren't magic users. The only undead creatures that you know have the ability to use magic are the Lords of the Dead, which are very powerful undead monsters. So usually you can just assume that undead don't have magic.
Okay. So I'm depressing mana for this, but I'm going to launch a dead body on Van, and I'm going to tell Walter to say that Van is one of his minions.
Minions? If you say so.
Yeah, because when he'll have dead body on him, it'll be in this. Yeah. They can't differentiate him from a corpse. So.
Oh. So I look like a corpse right now.
No, I think he meant Vand.
Oh, Van, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to make her look undead, so that they and undeads can't use psychic powers, so she can't be the person that they're looking for.
Okay. This is totally cool then.
Okay. Okay. So zombies are coming towards you. You cast your spell. Vand, you feel this stiffness in your body, and you feel all heat getting drained from you. But it's slightly unpleasant, but it doesn't feel like damage. It doesn't feel like it just feels like you're dead and still able to move, basically. And the zombies reach you, and the one that's at front says, "Excuse me, sir, Mr. Vitala. This we were told that this person here is a psychic that's escaped from a lab. A dangerous person. We should be taking this person into custody, if that's right."
They are with me. They are not the same.
Oh,
Should I make a leadership and or intimidation persuasion check?
I was thinking of persuasion, because it's not like you don't have your armor on, so you don't look like you're military right now. So it's more of a just using your basic authority.
Well, I rolled okay.
Yeah. The zombie says, it's just we were told to check and make sure that because we you understand, sir, we really have to find this prisoner. Psychics are dangerous, and the bosses want to find a way to put psychic powers into undead, so
I understand perfectly well, but send your supervisor to me, and he can be the assurance that we are not who you're looking for.
Um, and well, you're gonna have probably to come with us, or just this person is gonna have to come with us. And if you want to talk to a supervisor, you can talk to them at the garrison.
I look at Van. Is she focusing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
By the way, like you haven't made use of the fact that there's a spell making her look like an undead right now, but you know
Well, I
it's
figured
there.
like he would gesture at that, and then it would be obvious. I guess I could say.
The zombies don't they don't seem to be that perceptive.
Okay. In that case, he will extrapolate with this person you're looking for. Are they undead? Do we have renegade zombies in the city now?
Oh no, they're very much a live person supposed to be. Psychics are.
Then take a closer look.
Oh, I'm feeling necromantic energy. I'm sorry, sir. My mistake. Like he like bows to you. He turns to the other two zombies and says, "All right, you grunts. Let's keep patrolling." And like they start to move away.
That's probably going to make it hard to focus, but it does help.
Okay. So Van's biting her wrist and pretending to gnaw on it. Okay, cool. All right, you've now had an entire minute to focus. You can try again.
Get a 60. 60. No.
Still insufficient. Do you want to teleport yourself or rifle?
No.
No, I won't. Why are you so fucking heavy?
Because I am super buff and cool.
I'm getting so close. I'm always 20 off.
Do you have free psychic points?
No.
Oh, well, that's okay.
We built his character so that he would have like so that he wouldn't be so that he wouldn't like have psychic points, but has like a lot of strong powers.
So Walter's like watching this happen, and every time there's like a movement in the air, and then nothing happens, and he's slowly looking around at all the people noticing them, and he's gonna like just be casually trying to break that psychic control because he's confused as to why this isn't working. He figured she was a lot better at this.
Yeah, I remember. That's just so heavy.
You've moved all of us across the city before. Why is this a problem? It's right there.
I'm a little nervous. Can I try again?
Oh, of course. This time, though, you are starting to attract the attention of the Wilgi, the hounds. By the time you've had another minute to concentrate, there's sniffing and barking at the door of the mansion. Apparently, something about all of you, is attracting the attention of the undead hounds. So if you fail this one, security is going to be alerted of your presence.
Okay, well, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Oof, that's even worse than before. Your projection is open rolling, but everything else is. But your potential is not good.
Rifle, can you do anything to get me in there?
I mean, can't you just get yourself in there and we just get?
Why don't you go and I will just walk in there?
Yeah, I'll teleport me. And do you need the sword?
I could
Actually,
use the sword.
I would take the sword because it's pretending to make me in.
Okay, I guess as long as I get the sword back, I'll be fine.
Okay.
Can you take all of my gear with you so I'm less suspicious?
How much does your gear?
It weighs like a decent amount, but how much do you weigh?
I don't know. I have like a regular girl.
You,
So
based on your on your strength and constitution, it's going to determine your size, and then you can choose. There's a margin. There's a table to determine like how tall you are and how much you weigh in the first chapters.
The main gear that I will have sent with you is 53 pounds.
Dagger, can you roll psychic resistance for me, please?
Dagger's really confused in there. Where are they? It's been 2 more minutes.
Yeah. 112. Okay. That is a failure of 48. And how much is your psychic resistance?
You mean without rolling?
Yeah.
70.
Okay. It's now. It is now 22. You take a minus 8. Hold on. Minus 68. Sorry, not 68. 160. Minus 48. You take a minus 48 to your psychic resistance.
Okay.
Basically, what's happening, you are, something psychic is attacking you, and it's going to make you relive your worst memory. What is Dagger's worst memory?
Dagger's worst memory is the look on his parents' faces when he was taken away by the Duke Tsar's guards after finding out that he had killed one of the Duke Tsars to eat his heart.
Okay. So you are forced to relive this memory, and you remember like the next psychic assault might put you back in the flogging that followed, that almost killed you. The flogging with a metal whip that can like truly hurt creatures like you, dark elves like you, and you are you can feel that there's like this something in the manor somewhere, something that spotted you, that's just attacking your mind. Okay, so while this is happening, and like you're just like stuck in that memory when Vand appears next to you, and like at this you're still feeling that memory of being like dragged away with and feeling the stare of your parents on you while being in the inside of the corridor you're in with Vand. Vand appears, I think, with rifle, or is
Yes, with rifle.
okay. So yeah,
And all of my stuff.
okay, both of them materialize in the room, and Walter, you head towards the front doors, and like the hounds were barking at you because they know you. You're a visitor. You come here every now and then, and the fact that you weren't coming in was. But that they could smell you was, alarming them.
He will pet a dog if they are the dogs that can be pet. I know they have spikes coming out of their heads sometimes.
These can be petted.
Or I pet the dog.
Okay, they're like skeletal and they've been like ordered by necromancers to guard the outer perimeter and to listen to the master of the house. So you are once again you're permitted through. Your status gives you the possibility to walk into those places. You are escorted by 2 enchanted armors all the way to the large hall that Edric has his visitors in, and that's where you are going to arrive. The other 3, you are in corridors. You don't know your way around the manor that well, but Vand is supposed to have teleported you not far from the main hall. So you
Also, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, for what it matters, unless you stopped maintaining a rifle still has essence communication, and I might be able to give them some guidance if I know the hallways at all.
I do have essence communication, but I do have share senses.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm aware of where you are and what you are doing.
Cool. And I'm also aware of where you are and where you guys should go, I think.
Well,
But rifle doesn't actually have senses to speak of, apart from the sense of
true.
touch. So you can't really find your way around the manor based on just the rifle's sense of touch, especially since he's in somebody's hands.
forgot about
But
that.
you do feel when you wield me. You oh that's weird.
Oh, I can feel
Oh.
you cutting into.
oh my god, yeah, no, that's gotta be a horrible sensation if rifle has that spell activated to be able to like, cause like you can already like feel bones crushing when you're wielding things, but now you're feeling the blade.
It is literally an extension of myself. Can I get bonuses for that?
No, you can get like penalties to your mental health rolls because of the scarring effect this can have. But
Wait a second.
I'm okay. You know what? I'll give you bonuses. It's going to be easier to learn. It's going to be faster to learn key techniques with rifle because of your connection to your weapon.
That's cool. I just thought that I still had that psychic immunity thing, and no, I took it away. Darn it.
That's a shame.
What? There was a psychic immunity you could have?
It's not what it sounds like. It just basically means that I am immune to like trauma, which would have also been really useful before when I was being mind controlled and searched forever.
I don't use the mental health rules in any of my games, even in like World of Darkness and Cthulhu, because it's a bit iffy for like the players whose mental state I don't know to imitate the mental state of people who have mental health problems. So we're gonna say that you wander across the halls. Walter, you know where you're going, but also you know that the layout of the mansion that they know is based on what you know. So they probably teleported into a room you're aware of, and we're gonna say that you find each other probably in a moment where like Walter wanders into a room and is almost stabbed by Dagger laying in ambush. Dagger, you still have this difficulty. You're half plunged into memories, and it's hard for you to focus. You can feel that the whatever was attacking you has relented a little bit, but it could attack again very soon. So what do you do?
I say, wait, you have to get going. Something's in my head. Unless you can get rid of it, Vand.
Well, maybe I could probe into your mind and see what's in there.
Okay. Do you want to try and do that?
Sure.
Okay. You go ahead and activate your mind reading power.
And just take off the area stuff. That's not it.
No, that's outer memory. That you click twice. And mental research. Okay. Oh, you're very good at hitting him. Okay. So please roll your psychic resistance. You still have like that huge penalty, so it's easy for your mind to be invaded right now.
Oh, I like this music, by the way.
Cool. Yeah, dagger.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Could you roll your psychic resistance, please? Psychic resist. Did you hear me correctly? All right, cool.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it on the sheet.
Oh, yeah. You can always just like click on just write in special or yeah, you already have stuff in special. Okay, that's fine. So Vand, you are able to like probe into his mind, and you can feel that his mind is basically in tatters right now because he just suffered from a psychic assault, which is a typical telepathy attack that lowers one's psychic resistance. He is much more open to psychic powers, and he might not even notice if somebody entered his mind and started controlling it. In fact, when you're probing in there, you can feel another presence, as if someone who might have been reading some extra thoughts, and you feel the presence of a psychic, someone who's not necessarily stronger than you, but someone who has backup, someone who's actually more like 5 people working together, and you know this adversary might be too strong for you.
Since I can notice them, can I use psychokinetic tracking on them, psychic tracking, to find where their bodies are at?
Yes,
Since I know they're here.
You can absolutely do that. Go ahead and roll for this power to be activated.
This is actually really...
Okay.
Is it considered an attack?
No, it's not. But I get a psychic resistance check to resist that, right? What's the difficulty?
So what did I get? 200, so 160 PS.
Okay. I don't need to roll. I have...
Oh, what the fuck?
This person has psychic shield, so...
Oh, no wonder. I should probably get that from...
Yeah, you probably should. I tried to tell you that you were going up against a telepath in the first scenario during character creation, and when you didn't take it, I was like, okay, then that's good. That's gonna be fun for everyone.
I thought that'd be meta. I guess that would make sense. She should probably learn how to shield her mind.
It's all right, but basically, yeah, you can feel from your prodding that you're up against someone who's not messing around, and you're in their domain now. Everybody make a psychic resistance check, because you're inside of an area of effect that's, well, everyone is always inside of the area of effect of Edric, because the range is really 60 miles.
This is like my third one roll today.
I figured it out.
All right. So I am sad to announce to you that everyone is affected by Edric's illusions, and so none of you will be able to see the traps that are in the room ahead, apart from, of course, Walter, who's naturally not an enemy right now. And yeah, you find yourself standing right in front of the door of the boss fight, and with psychic resistances that are wholly unprepared for this encounter. So it's gonna be fun next time on Anarchy in Lunaris.
Next time.
And next time is 2 weeks from now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope everybody had as much fun as I had. 'Cause this was... I really liked all of the roleplay that we did today. That was really fun. Yeah, y'all like this campaign so far?
Yes,
I
Yes,
do. I am
that's
now happy
great.
that we're all on the team.
Yeah.
which means I probably don't need to mind control.
Yeah, probably.
It frees up a slot.
Alright.
It does. However, he might be like, you know what? Just keep it. That way, even if we do lose, I can just say, "Oh, it was her."
Alright. You didn't have combat today, but you did have some really interesting roleplay. So everybody's gonna be getting, I'm gonna say 25 for everybody, because like I really liked that sequence where Walter and Vand were like going through memories. That was some fantastic roleplay. Difficult actions, not
I
really.
failed everything that would have been difficult.
Yeah. Just like there were a couple of things that you were doing, so that brings you to 27. Good ideas or plans. So with a mixture of like buying the armor and going to Walter's place, those were good ideas. You didn't necessarily have that good of a plan going into the mansion, apart from teleporting, but that's okay. So we're gonna say 30. 1 hour session, we played for 4 hours, so 42. And yeah, everybody gets 42 experience points.
Thoughts of EXP?
Minus the penalties you could have, Dagger and others from, being, from having level modifiers.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
How much do I need for the next 170?
For the next level, you're Vand, right?
Yes, so I don't think that.
So as a psychic human, you have, I believe, no level modifiers, which means that your next level is going to be the typical next level.
750.
Yes. So you need to accumulate a total of 200 points. You have currently 550, and you need to go all the way to 750. So, like, I think you got about 50 last time. So at the
I
fifth,
got 45.
yeah, at the fifth session, I think a lot of you are gonna level up.
If he gains the same number of XP as me, he should have 642.
I think rifle you don't have any level modifiers either. So yeah, so you should both be getting experience point at the same time. Also, like, if I know that like some players are have an easier time getting into roleplay than others and things like this, so that's why I reward the entire group when good roleplay happens. Okay, so don't worry if you're like not feeling it with the characters yet, or if you don't get an opportunity every game, you'll always get the same amount of experience points as everybody else, which is, I reward basically everyone's good ideas and things like this. All right, this was a ton of fun. I was really thinking that we could do this entire scenario in the first session, and But I think it's really interesting the path that you're taking. That where you take time to focus more on role play and on exploring the lore and the places, and like you get more opportunities to like interact with other NPCs that I hadn't necessarily planned to introduce this quickly. So yeah, because I really like presenting the lore of Crankfort, I think it's a win-win. I hope it's okay that there's like less action than anticipated when I said that we're gonna have like a fast pace and a high difficulty, since like we ended up having less combat, less difficult things this game. But don't worry, next game you're probably all gonna die.
Full combat.
Yeah.
Unless we die really quickly
We'll be
and
fine.
then no combat.
Yeah, based on your psychic resistances, I don't know. We'll see. There is something that Vand can do that will practically assure your victory, but Vand needs to think about the way the enemy is attacking you and be aware of what's and like anticipates that, and it's all gonna be a ton of fun.
Why is it always on Vaughn? Can't someone else do magic?
Well, Rifle can do magic, but you're going against someone who has practically the same powers as you. So it's a skill of who knows how to use those powers best.
I can hit things with rifle.
I can shoot lightning bolts.
Technically, I can beat ghosts with my shield, but not with rifle.
No, not right now.
Alright, guys. I have to get ready for work, so I'll catch you guys later.
Have a good day at work.
Thank you. See y'all.
Have a good day, everyone. I'll be stopping the recording now, so see you all in 2 weeks. Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day, everyone.